champagne or rum, achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne.
Yeah, Olu, I see you now as well. How you doing, everyone? Hello. Hello, my happy world. So African Business Talks is here again. Like Azara says, I'm coming. I don't know, my phone, I shouldn't look at my phone. When I do, everything goes wrong, right? But welcome, everyone. Welcome. So our most exciting conversation we have in this room. Today, our topic is part of our Thinking Differently series. I guess it's based on the simple idea that as Africans, we know a lot. We know the truth, right? We know the truth. We know the formulas. We know the mindset. We know what it takes to achieve and live the life that we want. Now, so we've been arguing or discussing what success is, right? And I think part of the life we want is to live a life of success, happiness, and wealth. We are destined to have these things if only we follow the right path, the right formula. Probably starting with thinking correctly. Like I say, we know how mindset works. We know how religion works. We know how faith works. We know so many things, right? Why are we as Africans continuing to struggle? That's a question I ask myself, right? And when I do that, the answer that comes to me is we are not applying what we know. We're applying what we know, but we're not applying it correctly. We need to think differently. Rather than thinking, for example, that God and prayer will give us everything we want, we must think differently. We must understand that God only does anything for us when we put the effort in. We have to meet God halfway. We have to meet our faith halfway, at least, right? If we're not willing to do, it's not going to happen. We could argue about, what do we need to do? Again, we know the answer. The answer is it's not a secret. What we need to do is be faithful to ourselves, to our purpose, as Dr. Anthony said it made a few minutes ago. When we live our purpose, not by doing 99.9% of the right thing, by doing 100% of what we have to do. We have to have the will, the true will, the mindset and the will to truly do what it takes. When we do that, we serve the world. Everything we want comes to us, but we're not doing that. Anyway, so like I say, I've got my amazing friends here today, and my guest speaker is here as well. So I'm living in joy. So Festus is my new friend. He's a truth teller. That's why I call him, right? But I let him tell you who he is, and then share some of this, our weirdisms. Our weirdism being that we tend to talk about what we don't have as Africans. We tend to use what we don't have as a reason to carry on struggling. But Festus is going to tell us today why what we don't have is actually our superpower. Because we have superpowers, which is born out of that sense of lack that we seem to have. Michael, prepare to be amazed. Welcome, Festus. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm wonderful.
Excellent.
I'm wonderful.
You are wonderful. You're here, right? Look now. So
Yes.
welcome. Look,
Yeah.
tell our friends, who you are. Tell our friends, what you want to tell them about what you and how you help, and then please dive into the points that you want us to take away from and learn from today.
Okay. I'm excited to be here. Let me start by saying that from the theme of the program, thinking differently is what will happen right here with both of us. How we look at each other when we present our ideas, and how we look at those ideas from the point of trying to understand what other people think. That is entirely different from how we see life or see things, and not from the point of disagreement, getting offended, or um, trying to disagree, right? That is the only way we can start being thinking differently. That's the first thing I want to say. And then I would like to say I'm Festus, by the way. I'm that guy that decided to make a difference regardless of where I come from, regardless of my limitations. And I have one philosophy I always believe in, right? I believe that I am the citizen of the world before I become an African. And so is all of us here. Africa is the experience we are having, but in real sense, we are humans living in the world, having the experience of Africa. Particularly myself, I am a Nigerian. I'm a citizen of the world, having the experience of a Nigerian, or having the Nigerian experience. That's how I would put it. So, talking about what we have as human beings and what we have as Africans that maybe we're not using. Absolutely. It is true that we always dwell on blame games. We talk about things that are not right. We talk about things that are not, we don't have. But the truth is, by virtue of what we don't have, is a blessing to become who we're supposed to become. Um, I will give you one quick story right now about myself. I was born in one of the least developed communities in Nigeria. Um, we were driven out by crisis in Takum local government area in the then defunct Gongola state. And we were running out while live bullets were flying over our heads. And where we find asylum was so bad to a point that when it is raining, we would stand. Once it stops raining, we will mop the muddy floor and get back to sleep. That is where I come from. But I'm proud of that story because it actually helped me. I've used it actually to tell the world that I belong and I'm not a lesser human. That is exactly what I believe that need to do because we are the beginning of human civilization. We have everything it takes. But the problem is we look at what is not going right around us. As a matter of fact, before I get on this call, I had some technical glitches that I had to go through to get here. Why do I would have easily say, well, maybe this is not meant to be. I should just stay back. But I have to push through. That is what we're talking about here. You have to see your challenges and difficulties from a different perspective. You have to see it as something that maybe is testing you for how willing, how serious you are about what you say you want. My own point of view about life is this. Life gives us all the opportunity to dream and to think and to decide, right? But at the end of the day, each and every one of us have got to prove how much we say we want what we want. And that is why we face challenges in life. We're not Africans because we are limited. We are Africans because we've got to prove from a different standpoint that we've got it, that we have it, that we are worth it. That's why I believe that I am a citizen of the world having the African experience. If I want to narrow it down, I am the citizen of the world having the Nigerian experience. And I believe that every single African on this planet is just the same. We are not Africans by how the names we call ourselves. We are Africans by what we do with our brains, our knowledge, and our expertise. Where everybody has a place to exercise one or two things they know about themselves. So let me just stop here. I say that I am that guy that believe um, that I am going to give people the blueprint. or the way. I want to show them exactly what works. I want them to watch me closely. If I fail, they know what will not work. If I win, they know what will work. In either way, it's a win-win. So I have decided to be that guy that takes it from where everybody will say it's not possible, it's tough, nobody does it around here, and it's not even working. This is not our thing. I'm that guy that says, listen closely, just watch me closely. If I fail, you know it will never work. If I win, you know what will work. So I don't want to say much about myself, even though I've had some certification professionally as master mindset coach. I've had courses on certifications on NLP, CBT, REBT, confidence life coach, and other things. But I don't like to be called by those names because I'm the guy that speaks from heart, not from paper. I don't speak from textbook. I speak from testing live from its roughest age here in Africa. So that is why I don't really answer any of those names. I present myself as just me. That's just the guy here. And I'm so excited to be on this call because I believe what we're going to be discussing is going to help us revolutionize Africa because that's one thing I believe so much about. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak and to
No,
introduce myself.
thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, you raised many points. Look, and I grew up in Nigeria. Dr. Anthony grew up in Nigeria. I'm sure. Always in Nigeria. Calm grew up. He grew up in Uganda. I think the point you make that it's not the place that makes us. And I'm truly a believer that we have struggles. Life throws lemons at you, and you make lemonade, right? Life throws things at us. And it's for us to truly face those things, and I think when we face those things, Festus, we become better. We become stronger. We become more capable. We become the person that lives a different life. But we must overcome that. We must work through those struggles, and we must embrace them and see them as stepping stones to where we want to be, to our life that we want to live, a life of success, like you're talking about. Now, we're born to lead. We're not born to be struggling. But many people will use a circumstance as a reason for not doing. I haven't got any money. You don't need money. You need to create and generate income, serve people. And guess what? You're going to generate income. That's life. That's how life really works, right? Suddenly, you're no longer the poor person doesn't have money. You're now the person who does something that helps humanity, that they're willing to pay you for. Now, suddenly, your baseline, is raised. Now, where you are today is not where you want to be in 5 years' time, right? You want to look back and say, wow, I've come a long way. But that comes from overcoming those struggles, doing, learning, becoming a different person, right? The person who overcomes those struggles. The person who can now achieve their true potential. Whatever that means, right? It's different for all of us. Festus is a genius. He's he's a coach and mindset genius. I agree with. He has models. He has insights that I don't have. I have different abilities. I have a different purpose. We all have a purpose, but if we don't, but if we choose to keep using our circumstance as our reason for being stuck, we're doomed. Everyone who ever succeeds overcomes a circumstance and then becomes the person that lives a good life. It doesn't happen by accident. I'd love to know your thoughts, my friends. If you're in the comments, look, please now do share with us. Tobiloba, I see you. Welcome. Say Tracy, I see you're here as well, but I can't see you on my StreamYard. My friends say you're here, so I'll take it that you are, right? Look, anyone else who's here, please drop us a comment. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. I've got my friends on stage, so I'm good, right? Let's talk to Calm. Mr. Calm, what do you take from what Festus shared? Are you agreeing? Are you disagreeing? Do you have a different way of looking at the fact that we have to turn disadvantage into superpower?
Festus, thank you very much for joining, coming on board. I certainly appreciate the invitation, Annie, to speak. And I do have views that are different, not necessarily the same, but you could, in some way or another, find the time to reflect and understand that my views may sound different, but they actually merge. It's just a matter of time. They merge, and they merge at a point when your resonance matches my resonance, and you'll know that in time when your struggle is great enough, or when your struggle is less. But you may think that you're born to lead and not to struggle, but I disagree with that. I believe that you are born to struggle, because in struggle, you lay down the seeds of designs that either work or designs that will fail. And that is something that Festus talked about earlier, when he identified that he comes from a life, and he speaks from a life of testing life. He speaks from a place where he's testing life and experiences that he has lived. And he knows that as an African, he does his works, and his works either work or they fail. And you shall know him by his works. Not necessarily as an African, but as a human with an African experience. Because that's where he's at right now. That's his location, that's his environment. But he's actually a human. I believe that. That's true. He was born in civil war and strife. He does not, as a result, he believes that some people had the same human experience who were born in civil wars and who were born in strife and have thus gone on to struggle initially, but then eventually achieved some modicum of success, depending on whether you can call success the accumulation of happiness and wealth. If that's what you're in pursuit of, success being the accumulation of happiness and wealth, then you are successful. That's if you gain and attain it. Somebody said something interesting earlier. What does it mean to live your best life? And it means serving humanity. And being successful in serving and gaining happiness and success and wealth in the process. I deviate from that by saying there are more things in this universe than humanity. Serving humanity, as far as I'm concerned, is a distraction to living your best life. I'll say that again. There are more things in this universe than humanity. Serving humanity is a distraction to living your best life.
See,
Humanity
I could ask you,
humanity is part of the
what-
universe.
what is
There
there?
are also more things in this universe than humanity.
Right. What
And
is
there's a
more important than
probability.
serving humanity?
There's a probability that there are more things outside of humanity that need help, and you also got to serve those.
Like what?
And my definition of humanity is people, me and you. The other things I'm talking about is animals, plants, water, the things that create the universe, that make up the universe. Those are the other things that I am talking about.
But the only
I
reason
separate.
we would focus or help those things, whether it's animals, for example, is to help humanity, because humanity needs animals and wildlife. The humanity needs clean water. That's why the reason why we'll be
We
gifted
are
water.
part of that. We are a part of that humanity, and I believe
Mm,
that humanity has done a disservice to those things by thinking of them as being lesser than humanity itself.
interesting.
Like as if we're putting more priority on humanity than we are on them, and yet we are dependent on them. We cut down
Yes. So you
trees.
see
We
why I
cut
say
down trees
ultimately.
in order to make money.
So you see why I say
Like as if
ultimately
trees are
everything comes
less
back
than
to
are less
humanity.
than us, and money is more important than the tree.
No, hold on, hold on,
I don't
hold on,
believe in that.
hold on, hold on. You see why I say then when you say we're dependent on these things. Well, you see why I say then when we help anything
I
without
think
purpose,
I
we're
think
helping
that we are
humanity.
confused.
No.
I believe that humanity is confused as to our purpose in the universe and what we do, how we should go about doing these things. I believe the target is correct. We should be serving the universe. We should be making the universe a better place. But how we're going about doing it in pursuit of success, happiness, and wealth according to our own view, humanity's view as to what success, happiness, and wealth is, I think there's an error there. I believe that the animals have a different perspective of what success, happiness, and wealth is. They have a different viewpoint. We cannot communicate with them, of course, at this juncture in time. But I believe they can communicate, and I believe they are communicating and feverishly trying to get it across to us what our purpose is in their own way. But we have to open up and our expand our concept of humanity, expand our knowledge, expand our wealth in the universe. And when I say wealth, I mean knowledge of
Okay.
the universe.
Okay. Right. Okay. So let's hear what our friends think about some of your ideas. So I will remind us that we are the highest level of beings that live, that exist.
I think that's a misnomer.
That's not a misnomer. That's a fact.
No, that's a
Only we
misnomer.
can create. Only we can think. Only we can plan. Only we can, you know, be strategic. Only we can live the way we choose. Animals. They're animals. You can't equate humans with animals. You're not even close. But then but now let's hear from some of our friends. Let me welcome Lisa. Lisa, welcome, our menopause genius. So we'll have a room tonight at 10 o'clock. If you care to join us, bring your questions about perimenopause and menopause. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. So Joni, I see you too. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Have I missed anyone? I don't think I've made it. So no, more of you who are here do say hello, right? So that way I can welcome you properly. Look, I agree with you. Just somewhat that maybe there is an element of we're born to struggle. I don't say that to mean we're doomed. I think as humans, we have two responses to what we call struggle. Struggle is when things require efforts, require will, require discipline to achieve, require learning sometimes, right? The many people who see this disadvantage, Michael, they make one of two choices. Option one is, oh, well, they pack up. Oh, I can't do it because I don't have. Right? Option two, which most people do, is say, I can overcome this. They innovate, they create, they do. And then they change the world. Those are the two choices. I think investors and I, we may argue with you, Michael, whether failure is actually a thing. I don't think it's a thing. Do we ever actually fail? If we do, and give you everything we've got? No. We learn when things don't go our way. We learn what does. Professor said that when they spoke earlier. We learn what doesn't work, and we also learn if we do the right things, what will work. So failure, it's not a real concept. It's a state of mind. But ultimately, we must learn and move forward, because life is not about having. Okay. Tabeloba is here in the room, and you know where I am, Tabeloba. Why are you calling me? How strange, right? So no, look, as I say, I truly believe life is about learning to become that person who lives the life that's God's designed for us. A life of purpose, success, wealth, and happiness. That's what life is. But to do that, we must think differently. We must become a different person. Go on, Zara. You're next anyway, my friend.
Oh, hello, everyone. Hello, Anthony, Errol, Finn, Olo, Festus, Calm. Thank you so much. Tabuloba, hello. Welcome. Guys, thank you so much, Annie, again, for sending me the link and for allowing me to be on your beautiful stage. Festus, incredible story, incredible insight as to what purpose is. Earlier on, Calm and Annie were talking about what purpose really is. And coming from a mother who is Sudanese, we learn our purpose through stories and through storytelling. So I'm sure some of you have heard of the 3 Lost Boys of Sudan. Their memoir was titled, They Poured Fire Onto Us from the Sky, right? So their journey goes from southern Darfur, from South Sudan, where problems happened. And what they ended up doing was they had to leave their country. So I call them the 2 Bens. And the other guy, I think Alfonso. You don't quite pronounce it like that, but that's how it's written in the memoir. And they used their struggle to move forward, to push them in the direction they needed to be pushed. They didn't have an option or a choice, but they knew that they needed to move from where they are. They moved, ended up settling in the USA, and they used their journey and their struggle to have an impact. Now, I believe that having a purpose is very, very important, and understanding what was the phrase you said earlier on, Annie? The phrase that you used was, oh my word, I've forgotten it. My mind has gone blank. Purpose is not necessarily about what you have, but it's about doing what you love. When you have an impact on others, you can help others, you learn to understand more of what your purpose becomes. So it's not necessarily what you have. You can be born with money, you can be born with privilege, but that does not mean you have purpose. That just means you have things given to you. A purpose, you have to find it yourself through being authentic, through holding your own, taking into account your mindfulness, understanding what your insight is, understanding what you need to do in order for you to maintain and move forward to who you need to become. So for me, finding your purpose is not about what you have, but it's about doing what you love and having an impact, like the 3 lost boys of Sudan, having an impact on the greater good of, like you said earlier on, Calm, humanity. So that's what purpose is to me, Annie.
No, thank you so much. I agree with every word you say. It's about having that impact. And it's about discovering within us who we really are, what we're here for. And we all know if we look within what our purpose is, because that's the thing that drives us. That's the thing that we live to do, right? Thing that excites us. It's not always easy to live your purpose. Of course it's not, but but it's our gift to humanity, just as it's our gift from God to us. That's what our purpose really is. But we must learn to live it. So, and when we do, everything we dream of is, we have everything that we want in life, really. I'm not saying, you're not going to have hard times. Of course we are. But that's part of the journey. That's what builds us into who we are. If life was easy, then everyone would do it, right? there's no struggle. There's nothing to gain. Whereas when we learn to overcome, when we learn to use our disadvantage as our superpower, as a way to become, as you said, Zara, to become the person who does that, then life is beautiful. Yeah, that's the truth. I see you, Patrick. Welcome, sir. Glad you're here. Now, so Olu, I'll come to you in good time, my friend. We must find purpose first before we leave it. I agree, totally, right? And leaving it without any reservation, without hesitation. We have to have that faith. That purpose is it's not random, right? It comes from somewhere. Okay. Mr. Gali, please, you're welcome to give us another perspective. I'd love to know your thoughts, what our purpose is and how we can turn that disadvantage into our superpower. How do we overcome struggles to live the life that we're destined to live? Dr. Anthony, the time has come, my friend. Say, of course, I'm praying and expecting wisdom from you because you're a wise man. Share with us, please, whatever you want to share with us.
And thank you so much. I've been listening to what the speakers have been saying, but I don't understand what Michael is trying to say about equating human being with animals. I don't understand that. Maybe he needs to explain that well to us, because we need to get that straight. So about what Festus has just stated, as mentioned, I don't expect anything less from Festus. Festus is a friend. And when I look at this topic, I will agree, just as Festus stated, and we all agree that we are not defined by nation. I'm not defined by being a Nigerian or that I belong to a tribe, a profession. No, I believe in the power of the mind. When I look at all these things that we discuss, it has to do with the mindset. It has to do with the mind. And unfortunately, our education has been logic based all the while. Has been logic based. I've had that kind of education for a larger part of my life, and it happens to every one of us. But now we are having our eyes opened to turn our disadvantage into superpower. But it has to do with our inner self, with the power of our mind. And that is why we need to go to a situation whereby we re-educate ourselves for human greatness, understanding who we are in terms of identity, making inquiry about things. If you really want to get to the next level, if you really want to, change, what we have already and turn our disadvantage into superpower, we need to ask a lot of questions. so that we be able to really perform our purpose as it is in life. When I want to use myself as an example, I had a turning point when somebody challenged me about what have I come into the world for. You cannot ask an animal what has an animal come into the world for. So that's why I'm really querying what Michael really said the other time. And I discovered that there are some things I need to change about myself. And there are some things we really need to change about ourselves as human beings before we can turn our disadvantage into superpower. I want to mention 5 things. One, our belief. We need to turn most of our disempowering beliefs to empowering beliefs. We need to look at our values, and embrace worthy values. We need to master our emotions. And if you really want to turn our disadvantage into superpower, we need powerful references. It has helped me a lot. I have a lot of references. I have a lot of mentors who has helped me a lot. Some of them I have not met them, one-on-one. And I think 2 major, people like that who have changed my mind is Anthony Robbins and Robin Sharma. When I read their books, that changed my mind. And that's what I mean by references. I think these are things that we need. These are things that can change our mind, our mindset, so that we'll be able to turn these disadvantages, definitely all around us. When as Africans, we need that mindset, a new mindset, to be able to turn our disadvantages into superpower. And it is a process. It is unending. It's an unending process. I'm in the process. I'm not there yet. I still have a long way to go. And I know, because I always remember that that quote that who knows not that is knows nothing knows nothing. And who knows that he knows nothing knows something. So I'm guided by that. So it's a long way. So, but I know as I continuously try to change my mind, and that's why I'm here. That's why I try to get connected to people like Annie. I like people who try to give me positive influence, so that I can have that kind of mindset that will be able to turn things around for the better. So I don't know. I don't know whether I'm communicating, but that's just in brief what I'm trying, because I'm using myself as an example. I'm trying to use to be able to turn my disadvantages into superpower. So that's just my submission for now.
No,
Thank you very
thank you.
much.
Thank you so much. Look, I learn from all of you, and I learn from people who know more than I do. Like you say, Doctor, that he who thinks he knows it all tends to know nothing, right? The more you know you don't know. That's life, right? But thank you so much. So again, you make many important points. So we do need to reimagine how we see ourselves. We need to reimagine, and you said re-educate ourselves. We really do, right? So the formulas they're there. It doesn't. What do we believe about ourselves? If we believe we're doomed, if we believe that our circumstance, has determined our outcome already, we're not going to do right. we have to truly understand that what we think is what we become. Where we see opportunities, we can make steps. If we see a roadblock, then we're done. There's nothing's going to happen. There's no growth to come, right? That's how the world works. Now, Olu, I agree with you. Again, you make some very good points in the comment. Purpose is what makes each of us to proceed, even when others are giving up on us. And I'm convinced that we will not succeed at that thing, right? However, even when we ourselves cannot stop because something moves us from within, that we find it possible to resist. It's almost a deep primitive energy. I agree with you, Olu, totally on that one. As believers, it can bring us to even to the point of self-immolation or martyrdom. Yeah, why not? We'll sacrifice ourselves for the cause, right? It can help us to live not just our best lives, but for others in some cases. So this, you know what, Mr. Olu, I wish more of us believe that we are truly special, because we are. We're gifted. Our circumstance is but a stepping stone. As Dr. Anthony said, if we have belief, if we have the right values, again, what's the right values? We're here to help others. We're here to help the world. We're here to help humanity. Michael can argue about that, of course. So I will take us to that place. I think master our emotions. Wow, doctor, that is so important, right? If we choose to live in fear, in mistrust, in doubt of ourselves, in a world of choose to live with a belief of lack, I don't have, so I can't. Then we're doomed. We're truly doomed, right? That's our emotions is so important, if you ask me, right? We can't create genius. We can't give our best for anything if we're thinking negatively. Maybe another part of success, Michael, when I use the word happiness, maybe I'm talking about finding inner peace. That's what we're destined to have. We're not born to be racing, to be angry, to be anxious, to be worried. We have the ability to develop that peace of mind by doing the things we talk about. From that peace of mind place comes joy, comes creation. That's how the world really works, in my point now, from my perspective. Festus, I wonder if you got any thoughts on what we've heard so far. I know you fell off for a bit, but you're back, right? Let me welcome, was it Wufai? I pronounce your name. Hopefully I haven't killed it totally. But thank you for joining us, right? Festus, are you there? I see you've unmuted, but I don't know. We can't hear you. I don't know whether you've unmuted, but so you might have to try again, my friend. You might have to try again. Where are we? Am I going to Alovine? Am I going to Olu? I think I'm going to Alovine. Yeah, that's right. I remember. No, order. Join order. Alovine, Olu, Tobiloba, then you, my friend. Okay, patience. Patience. Of course, let's try and move it along quickly as well, my friend. That way, people not waiting way too long. Alovine, how are you doing? Talk to us.
Hello, thank you to invite me here. First of all, I am happy to be with you guys. And about this topic, I think about our self-image, the image we have about ourselves. Sometimes it's a good one, sometimes it's a bad one, and often it's the one people gave. So someone is no, or often it's that what people had given to us when we were younger, and with this lack of experience and with this lack of knowledge who we truly are. And we need to change that. We need to accept. I think acceptance is the key here. Not acceptance like, oh, I will never be able to do something meaningful. No, I'm not talking about this kind of acceptance, because this case is about resignation, and we are not here for accepting less, but we are here for accepting that others had make us think something false about our self-image, and we had accepted false things about what we see about ourselves, and we need to overcome this stuff by knowing who we are. We need to know what we truly believe in. It is not about what others think, what others believe. It is about what we believe, about ourselves. And I also think about a formula. Yes, we can have formula um, works perfectly for most of all, but sometimes we need to adapt this formula because we are unique. A formula needs to be unique as well. We are unique as a human being. That's my idea about that. And also, I think success and struggle are two sides of the same coin. A coin has two faces, two sides, and one is front of the light, and one is hiding. So you see, we need to understand that before the success we have the struggle, and it is normal to go for that. If we want to understand, we need to know both sides. It is like the moon. The moon has two faces. One is a light by the sun, and one is hiding from the sun. So we need to understand this stuff, I think, if we want to change our mindset and to rise from ashes, if I can say, and to make a change into this world as an African, because like I already said, I'm from Réunion Island. I'm French by nationality, but I have origins from Africans. So that's it. Even if I'm white, I'm a white person. I have black, so let's say black people into my DNA, in my and in my mindset, if I can say like this. I didn't use white and black for um, let's say for hurting someone else. No, it just easier to say it like that, but it is not because I think we have to go for that. So I hope I didn't hurt someone here or in the audience. So for changing our mindset, we really need to be open, and to be open mindset, and that's my thoughts about this point, about why we are uh, where we are right now. We need to think differently. That's really important, and we need to pay attention about the image we have about ourselves. That's all for the moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This, look, of course, I think it's not, I think, I know for sure that we can never outperform our self-image. This goes back to the doctor's point about belief. If we believe that we can, then we tend to do. If we believe that we can't, you're doomed before you even start. I think our self-image is a key, and we have to truly believe that we can, we will. What I live in. My wish is that we take the things we talk about, right? I think Festus said it very well. He said, it's on us to prove that what we're saying is true. I think that, again, Dr. Anthony said it very well too. We Africans need those role models, those reference points. I said, I'm willing to work to be one of those. Now, let me tell you, when I was growing up, I was annoyed. I was annoyed for. I was annoyed for many years. See, what annoyed me was simply this simple fact. See, people look up to musicians, sports people, and I was like, what about us who work hard and have a brain? Why does no one call us? Why does no one see us as role models? In the end, they will have to, because we are the ones that create the world, right? And well, move forward to where I am today. Yes, we are those people, right? It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Someone's trying to join the studio, but we've got 10 people in the studio, so let's try and get through as many as we can. Then someone might leave, and then we might bring someone else up. But thank you so much, Aluvine. I don't, you're as African to me as anyone else, because you are. If you don't know where Reunion Island is, it's next to South Africa. So you're as African to me as anyone else who's on here, my friend. All right, there's many people trying to join the studio. Okay, let's go to Joni, because Joni only has a limited time, if that's all right. And then I'll come to you, Tobiloba.
Well,
Joni, share with us.
Aluvine, oh my gosh, that name. It's like love. Like it's like that. I bet that's your nickname, because of what a gorgeous name that is. I'm gonna write that one down. But I want to tell everyone listening out there that I am obviously a white girl from Chicago, and I have met some of my really best friends in the world from different parts of Africa because of this, which is so special to me and important, because this technology has let people kind of integrate and kind of see what's on the other side, and there is so many wonderful things, especially about Nigeria. First of all, you could speak English and a bunch of other things. So give yourself credit. That's amazing. And I think really the fact that so many people through social media are bonding is a really great thing for kind of coming to one world, and people with the same values come together. And I just really have appreciated meeting so many people around the world, and especially in Africa. It's just something draws me to that area. And also I just wanted to say, okay, so Africans speak a lot. So just also, I'm thinking infrastructure and healthcare. That's the first two levels, and no more dictators. And I don't know what I'm not anywhere an expert, but I really just have so many friends I love there and from there. So I know we're the same. We're all in heart the same. If we are connecting right now in heart, we have the same values about family and love and children. So anyways, that's all I wanted to say. But you guys talk a lot. Go ahead.
I laugh, right? Look, of course, there's always something in what you share, Joni, right? So, as you're talking, I'm thinking, right, when an African person overcomes, Joni, they become leaders. They become so good, the world can't ignore them. We see this every day, my friends. We see, how many times, I'm sure those who look, we emigrate or immigrate from Africa. We run away to the diaspora, and we create genius.
So don't run away to London, maybe.
No, I'm saying, but if we stayed at home, we might create genius there. But the fact is, the process of learning and facing our challenges as Africans, it gives us so much drive, so much skill, so much commitment to a cause.
So much. I wish it would give, like, maybe some more white people skills, because we are lacking over here.
Well, I know, look, the world doesn't understand that journey, but I know what you're saying, right? I'm saying, but that's
we lagging something. Anyway,
but it's the same formula. No, the formula doesn't change, right? I think there's a different, I saw a question earlier, let me go to it, because I think it's an important one. I think Tracy asked, what if I don't have a disadvantage? Yeah, I'll let you all ponder that for a second. What say you?
Can I
Of course you can.
try
Go
to
for it. Go
answer?
for it.
I think we have no disadvantage. In fact, I think it is in our head. We think we have disadvantages as an excuse. It is an excuse to not try and to hide behind our fears, to stay in our comfort zone. And for that, we will say, "Oh, I have this disadvantage. Oh, I am handicapped. I don't know, whatever you want. I don't know how to speak English. I don't know how to speak this. I don't know. I don't have enough money. I don't. I think our disadvantages are just in our head, and it is also the only disadvantages we have. I think it is our pride and our fears. We are too afraid about what people would say about us, and we are too afraid to disappoint, to disappoint our, let's say, our family members, our friends, our society. Our society taught us, had taught us from so a while, from the beginning. Women have, for example, women has to stay home, and women has to raise children, nothing more. We had to fight against that, like that women now can have a job. But now the thing is, we say a woman has to have children, a job, a professional career, a successful one, a husband. So, and it's also that problem about the standards we put and we want to achieve. Why I take the example of a woman, because I am one, but why a woman can't have just a professional career and just not having children because she doesn't want to have it, to have them. That is my question, because I think if we want to change something, we need to pay attention to our pride and our fears, and we need to be ready to go from our comfort zone, where everything is comfort. We know everything. We have a good routine. We have everything. We just have to follow someone else's advices, someone else's standard, and okay, our life is perfect. And when something else arrives, we have these difficulties to admit, and we are afraid because it's unknown. So I think we have no disadvantages except our pride and our fears. That's my answer to Tracy.
Beautifully said. I'm thinking, Tracy, we can all find disadvantages. I'm black. I'm a man. Damn, that makes life hard, right? You're a woman, and you're not a Caucasian woman in that sense, right? I'm saying no. I'm saying that's a struggle. As Alavin just said, living like a woman, having to have kids and have a job and find a purpose. That's a burden, right? We can make a burden out of anything we do, right? It's part of what I was just saying to Joni. I think it's choices we make, and as Alavin said, we can choose to see a problem, or we can choose to see opportunity. Take your pick, right? Either way, you're
Eddie,
right. Go on, please.
I'd like to add To say that you do not have a disadvantage is like saying that you're like God. You're all knowing, you know everything. The beginning and the end is what you know. And that to me is like, I that means that the statement you just made is not true. So which means that I believe that you need to go back and reevaluate what you just said because it doesn't make any sense.
I
In my
might,
world.
I might agree with you that I think we have God in us, so that makes us God. You can argue you like, I'm saying, but there's nothing we can't do. We have the power. We don't need to know the journey. We need to know that, like you say, have the dream, and then believe that the end that we see in our dream is going to come true. How we get there, that's what I've been talking about when she's talking about, and we like to live in this sense of shame. Oh, what if I fail? What if they laugh at me? Forget that. Just go through the steps that God gives you. Again, when given that what God tells you is within, I don't know which part you're saying
What
misinformed
I'm
about.
saying is that you think that you're God, but in
Yes.
reality, you're not. You're actually an incomplete God.
Yes, I agree.
You know,
But you know God talks through us, right? You know God talks to us
yeah,
every day.
yeah. Tries to, you know, tries to make you better as he talks to you.
Right.
It's up to you to
It gives us instructions, which again
right.
goes towards Tracy's question and Joni's question. Why do white people not do what they have to do? They don't listen to God. They don't listen to themselves. They don't listen to their soul. Joni, you've made choices through life, right?
I
And we
have.
struggle.
That's
Yeah.
how you got here. Many people don't look. Many people, let's
Hard.
face it. So
But I'm sorry. Tracy is at the top of the food chain. I mean, she is smart AF. And she's from Asian background. That is the top of the food chain here. And I mean, we praise those Asian women, but I praise her because I think she's so smart. So that's it. But yeah, it's like it is still like people are still so weirdly racist about like, oh, Asian people are so smart, or whatever. Like it just other stereotypes, and um I don't follow that pattern.
One.
I have 2 graduate degrees, and I think one of the biggest gifts that you can give yourself is really getting to know people a little bit like this, like outside of your community. So Nigerians are so wonderful and special because they have such a great family community, and I've said that before. I think it's a wonderful gift because we don't have that, and so I've said a lot of I'm sorry. I'm gonna.
No, thank you. Olu, I say, this is the truth right here, right? The more we develop ourselves, the more we begin to sense divinity, the fact that we have a divine purpose, a divine gift to create. And that's the power in all of us, right? But I don't have to believe I'm God, Michael. I just have to believe I'm me, divinely gifted. That's how we achieve greatness. And that gives me energy to carry on, right? To push on through the struggles. We all have struggles,
That's true.
right?
I'd also
Okay.
like to answer Anthony's question regarding the why I equated animals to humans.
Go.
I have Anthony. I have a notion that we as humans think that we live on a pyramid, and we're at the top of a pyramid of the pyramid, and animals are at the bottom of the pyramid. I think that that concept of thought is a status privilege thinking, which which is a misnomer, and I believe that it is not. It is something that we should just get rid of from as humanity from our system, because it doesn't serve us a purpose, any purpose at all. In reality, we actually mimic humans in our living. We try to, like, for instance, an example is we try to improve our physical mobilities as a human race by mimicking them, those animals, their physical movement, to get an idea of how we should be moving. And lo and behold, we find ourselves improving or advancing our movements as we copy them.
What
and
animals? Can we? Because
simulate their movements.
How is that, Michael? Are you sure?
And we're talking about yeah, sure.
Are
Because
you
we're
sure?
talking about-
You know, I've got
we're-
two dogs,
I'm
two
talking about
cats,
the
and two
space of-
fish.
I'm talking about the space of physical therapy.
Right.
That's the space that we're in. We're using our
think
imagination to mimic their movements so that our bodies can move.
we're not mimicking.
I don't know what's going on.
That's
Tom,
odd. Yeah, that's very odd.
camera on,
That's what I'm talking about.
No, look, no. I think it can be humane, live a decent life, not contribute to any animal, any human or animal, even plants suffering. I don't think
that's what I'm talking about. What my primary objective here is for you to understand that the status of humans versus animals in this universe, or on this earth. Let me just boil it down to this: on this earth, is we're the same. We are born, we live, we die. Period.
you missed a bit. You missed a bit. You missed a bit. You missed a bit. We create. We think.
What we do in between. What we do in between is our works.
Coach, of course, I hear you. Tobaloba, I hear you too. I hear you too, Tobaloba.
Please kindly check. Please check Vahad comment. You have something very unique that is shared over there.
I'm at the bottom of my screen, so I'm like, okay. So the one about purpose, right? Is that okay? Fahad, okay, I get the name right. So Fahad says purpose is like the seasons. In old age, where I find myself, I'm becoming purposeful in getting involved with issues pertaining to old age. Sadly, the golden years of a human are meant for many purposes, including passing of knowledge and wisdom, diplomacy, and many others. Yet, the majority find themselves in situations of irrelevance and survival. Purpose is innate in humans, as long as you don't accept defeat and redefinition. I like that, my friend. I do like that. So our purpose, it can change, but I think it's more like it evolves. But no, and maybe I wouldn't necessarily agree that age is a restrictor. Many people, do you know that most of our greatest creations in life, most of the genius things, are created by people between 40 and 60? I'm not saying the young can't create, I'm saying, but we develop the wisdom, the knowledge that you mentioned to find a way to impact the world. And it's normally in our old age that we find that peace, that calm, and those who do live, I think, overcome that sense of irrelevance and just living to survive. Again, that's pertaining to Tracy's question and to Joni's point about why do many people in my society, in my English society, live the hard life because they choose to, right? But it is irrelevance, and purpose is innate to us, and I think we have to dare to live it, my friend. I think many people are scared to live the purpose for the reasons Alavin said. That's just my thought. If anyone else has a thought, please feel free, and then I want to go to Tobaloba. Does anyone
And
have a
gosh,
thought?
don't say sadly the golden years. Oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah,
no,
it's
that's
really
a
not.
wonderful years. I mean, God, I am like so loving of my
Hmm.
40s.
No, don't look. No, I look. No, of course, I talked to Lisa. I mentioned Lisa earlier, right? About menopause. I think we really must see. See, my friend Kelly's puts it perfectly well. He says, "Look, we have two lives, but when we start living our best life, when we realize we've only got one life left, that's normally 50. We realize we only got one life left. We're gonna die soon, right? We're on the second half of our lives. That's when we start living our purpose, our true selves, and chasing happiness that we deserve. Maybe that we ought to have been chasing all the way, right? Living our purpose, living our joy, not struggling.
Maybe we just recognize who we were, Annie, right?
Yeah.
Like we were always living who we were, and we just didn't have enough experience to be really our, oh my God, I hate this word, authentic.
Yeah, our true authentic self is a word you don't want to use, right?
I
Living
know,
our purpose, in other words.
I do think that with age comes that feeling because you've been through so much.
I agree.
I mean, like I was a total asshole in high school. Just letting you know.
I'll say this, my friends. If I live to 75, the world's in trouble. Because at 75, I'm gonna be awful. I'm gonna be myself.
You're gonna be a hound dog.
No one's gonna stop me, right? I'm gonna say what I like, when I like, how I like. If someone doesn't like it, I'm gonna do what I like too, right? That's what I'm working towards. I'm just saying, I'm making myself laugh. Right. I'm at Tobiloba and Olu. I don't know who came first, but Festus, anything you want to add? So you've been quiet for a long time. Let's see if your internet's working now. Mr. Festus? Okay. Nigerian internet is doing what Nigerian internet does, which is one of our someone creates internet that's going to work, Olu. Someone creates internet that's going to work. I might give you, my friends, an idea. See, I've got a trip away from home, right? I have to be away from home at the end of the month. And my biggest struggle is internet. So there's mobile Wi-Fi, right? There's dongle things, right? Dongles, right? So you get SIM card, you get internet, but it's not good enough to power my computer. I can't do events, for example. So yesterday I sat there and I thought, what's the answer? I need to get internet that will really work. I can't have 2 months off work and not talking to any of you, right? And you know what I found? There's dongles that work off satellite. You pay once. I paid £32. Free internet from satellites. Free. Forever. Free. 150 megabits per second. Fast internet. Free after buying the device. That's what Africa needs. All this buying data that you lot do, right? Connecting to funny internet. You need to connect to the satellites like Starlink. I said there's solutions. If an African could create a better solution, I'd be even happier, right? But I found one that's going to work. Anyway, hopefully if that helps anyone who's here, I'll be happy, right? I'll take it. I'll take away. Let me stop talking. Tobiloba, please do share with us your take on our conversation. You're muted. Cyrus, I bring you on stage. Tobiloba.
Can you hear me now, please? Hello?
Sorry, I hear you perfectly. I was on mute. I hear you perfectly. So please share with us your take on our topic.
A lot of things have really been shared by our brothers and sisters that are on the stage, right? And it still boils down to the same thing, which is the mindset that you might have heard me all the time. I'm just hammering on the mindset. So today we need to have a real conversation, right? not about blame, not about the word, well, not about what basically the word owns us, not because we are worthy of it, but about we need to change within ourselves, about what we really need to change within ourselves. Okay, think about it. We have reached this point in our life because of what we were exposed to, right, while growing up, and our beliefs, our actions, the way we navigate opportunities, they are all shaped up by the environment we were raised in, the stories we heard, and the example we saw. So every one of us carries a map of the world drawn from those early experiences. And here is the truth. If we want to break free from circles of limitation, mediocrity, or fear, we basically we must first see differently. We must first see differently. We must be able to expose ourselves. Our I mean our exposure to information must actually be different. What you allow yourself to see, hear, and experience is the only thing that can reshape your thoughts, your imagination, and your actions. So, if we continue to live within the narrow frames we inherited from our fathers, from our forefathers, from our uncles and our brothers who are much more older than we, or to somebody who is any, who is Olu, who are much older, who are old enough to be our parents, right? If we continue to live in the mindset that they have been living on, we will continue to produce the same results that they produced. So change has to begin with we expanding the boundaries of our mind. We must also confront that the narratives we have inherited about identity or limitation, there are no like we simply compare ourselves. We see some people who are more superior than us. We basically see them as somebody who is, or basically you see the white people that are more, better than you do, or because of color or something. You see, I'm a student of the Bible. And there's something in the Bible that makes us to understand that there is no Jews, there is no Greek, right? There is no outsiders, there is no insiders in the human experience. There is only humanity, and there is us that is basically capable of greatness if we first change how we perceive ourselves. We must stop measuring ourselves by other people's story, and start divining ourselves by basically the vision we hold for our lives. So everything is perspective. Everything begins with how we choose to see the world. Perspective shapes our actions. Perspective shapes our courage. Perspective shapes our possibility. And the reality is what the world around us will not change unless we first change the lens through which we view it. So what do? We seek exposure, not just to comfort, but to ideas, experience, and people that challenges us. We will define ourselves not by comparison, but by the imagination, the creativity, and the vision. We act differently because thinking differently is not enough. If it does, it will never translate into the courage, risk, and deliberate action that we need to take. So the real belief about the word we're looking for is changing, is taking the different actions. So the word has not yet changed, but it's basically it is waiting. We've been discussing this thing over and over again. The word has not changed, but it's waiting. waiting for us to see differently, to think differently, and to act differently, waiting for us to realize that the only limits that exist are the ones we have accepted, waiting for us to so you need to understand today that the transformation that our perspective is not dictated by history, fear, circumstances. It begins when we dare to see what others refuse to see and act where others hesitate. So please, you have to change your perspective, and you need, if you really want to change your world, you need to change your perspective. Change what you allow yourself to see, and you change what you are willing to create. The moment is now. The moment we need to change is now. And guess what? The power is yours. You've got that strength. You've got the power. So we are motivating ourselves. We are getting ourselves ready for the future we want to see ourselves. As much as our parents did very well, they did good, they do the
Toby?
Always a hopeful one, Joni, that the internet will kick back in again. You know, so
Okay.
but look, I say I
Like,
know
I really feel like Annie, like he should know. God, how
okay, no,
much
it's back, it's back, it's back, it's back. Top
world
over
has
your back.
Can you hear me now?
look what we're
Yeah,
doing
move it.
right now. World has changed.
Hold on, Joni, hold on,
I
Joni.
know. I'm not trying to be.
Go on, top over. Hmm. I hope your internet doesn't give up sometime, right? And hopefully all is
You
still
know what I
there.
love about today? Can
What's
you hear
that?
me? What
Yeah,
I
you're
love
back.
about today, what I love about today
Can
is
you hear me
that
now?
we have been tested, right?
Yeah, always.
We have been tested to really prove what we
Can
say
you hear
we
me now?
got to Africa.
Yeah,
Hello?
always,
I so
always,
love
always.
this. I'm loving the energy.
You know,
Can you
because
hear me now?
Oh,
you
what
know,
is
yeah,
it?
we hear you talk about. So you know, I just talked about the internet that we can get for everywhere. It works everywhere. That's a satellite internet.
Yeah,
No, really, you know,
that's
it
it.
saves
That's
data.
it.
It saves all any of that stuff, and connection is better. Go on, top over.
So basically, I was just talking about, like, if our parents figure it out, if any figure everything out, if Olu, who is old enough to be a father, I've known Olu for a while now, figure everything out, there will be nothing for us to be done to. We will not be able to do, there will be nothing that we need to recreate, that we will need to make better. So as much as we are trying to see our world in a different perspective, we should also acknowledge that our parents, our brothers and our sisters who are much older than we, who are old enough to be our parents, they have done their own part. And we need to do our own, but actually changing different, because where they are today, what they are able to achieve is as a result of what they were able to see, is their perspective about themselves, about the world.
We give it a go. Hopefully, you know, top over will come back. You know, but saying, look, I think, you know, he's making important points, right? You know, change your perspective, and the things you see change. That's a big saying, right? Change how you look at things, and and the things you look at change. You know, I think that, of course, I agree also that rather than thinking of disadvantages or advantages, we see opportunities. That's what the world that demands of us, really. You know, but at time again, as Topoloba said, which I don't think we can ignore, this is all about taking action, deliberate action, you know, powerful action. So many people don't do that. They think they do, right? So my cry to all of you, my cry to anyone who's here, anyone who listens to me, even on replay, right, is dare to take the action, dare to do big things that come to mind. That's how the doctor got here. That's how we all got here, right? I'm saying, can we do bigger things? Of course we can. I remember yesterday, it's the first thing I woke up, I messaged Festus. I'm like, yeah. Then I called him. I'm like, what's God told you to do today? Because every day we get instructions from God, right? We really do. And I truly believe we do. Now God tells me, call Festus. Do this, do that, right? And in one of those actions is where our greatness, our joy, our success, our wealth lies. But many of us ignore those instructions. As again, someone mentioned the other day, they said, it's like we love to wrestle with God. We're never going to win, right? If we wrestle with God, I promise you. If God gives us instructions, go for it. Don't be arguing with God. Don't be wrestling with Him as if it's not a fight. God knows it. I'm saying I'm not even religious. This is what I find so weird, right? But I know the truth. The truth is, the Almighty, whatever yours is, whether it's God, the universe, animals, for Michael. I don't know, right? I'm saying, there's no point arguing. Go on with the divine, right? And so before I come to you, Olu, let me thank Michael. Michael, thank you for making the space for us. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, right? Go on, Olu. You're muted.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm okay now. So I think somebody said they actually liked the energy of this space today. The thing is, I'm a bit of a very pedantic, very particular person. Why I say that is, when I was coming in, I thought we were basically going to talk about, changing the style of, African people, in business and all of that. But, sometimes the thing is that in life we digress. And sometimes when we digress, it's just like when you're going to a destination, sometimes you end up in an alley and you find something that is really of value to you that might even make what you had wanted to get, not necessary anymore. So it's been fun. I've heard a lot from a lot of people. I've learned a lot from a lot of people. And that is why I come to these spaces, because what happens is that I get to take from a lot of people, and automatically that's my own understanding of the particular subject or topic or issue that we're discussing. It just expands my mind. So I value it. One of the issues that tends to occur to me is this. And that, and I value it. Let me put it that way. I value it. Why do we look at our abilities in the sense of disadvantages and advantages? The thing is that is the plan. That is the plan. I'm not going to, if I already have everything, I'm not going to need anyone. So naturally, I'll probably not feel the, overpowering need to approach someone else. And that means that there will be no interaction. And when there's no interaction, there's no opportunity for shared experiences, shared perspectives. So that is the plan. And I mean, if we look at the human body, the anatomy, the physiology, we've got hands, we've got fingers, we've got eyes. Each one has a purpose for being. I have a feeling that, and I can speak for myself, if I'm asked that what part of my body is not so important that I will give it up, maybe for some money, maybe $1 million, $100 million, $10 million, It's gonna be difficult. It's not. I don't want to lose my finger, even the smallest finger. That is the way life
How about
is.
your
We
hair?
are all
How about your
of
hair?
value.
Your hair. Would you give up your hair?
I'm, well,
I'm laughing. Will I give
well,
up my hair?
yes, I
Oh,
would.
I have,
You know
Tony. I
why?
have.
I love. Yeah. Let me explain why. The hair will regrow. Yeah. Well, let me finish. The hair will regrow. It's not so critical to my survival or to my state of mind. I know of programs where people donate their hair. Once it goes to a certain, they cut it off and they donate it. But I'm talking about very critical, essential parts of our bodies. But now that is the human body. We're not talking about human beings now. Are we then saying that within humanity there are some people that are equivalent in terms of value to the hair? I don't think anybody would say that. We're all human beings,
Yo,
all
you
of
don't.
value. And
Your
another
sister.
thing is that we
Your
are
sister
not the
said
same.
that.
That's the fact. That negative thing. It's good. That is what. Yeah. That is what makes it fun. It's like when you have a fabric like Joseph's many colors. We form the fabric, the beautiful, radiant, multicolored, multi-textured fabric of humanity. So there's no weakness really. What I can do, any can do, God can do, Johnny can do, Avalon can do, other people can do. That is why it's almost as if, and I don't want to say God, because I've been around long enough to understand that I've got a friend in Pennsylvania who's an atheist. Known him for 15 years. You know, he sends to them and all of that. So I don't like to come all religious. I don't, except it's a religious space. I respect other people's beliefs, you know, but their faith does not affect my faith. So the thing is, it's almost as if nature that way. You know, and if we look at the whole of the world, the whole of nature, it's so beautiful. They're still finding new species. You know, that is the idea. The point is for us to interact and come together, and it will happen. You know, it will take time, but it will happen. It's inevitable. It will happen. You know, because as time goes on and we're having spaces like this, interactions like this, that were not possible 15, 20 years ago. Imagine this. I'm in Lagos, you know, in Juleki, and I'm talking with people. I'm listening to people from all over the world. It will scale up eventually. Sometimes it might not even because we want it to intentionally, you know. And like Stanley Green always says, when you have a weak area in your life, something you can do, reach out to others. Worst case scenario, they would say no. You go to the next person, you keep at it. I found it interesting what think it's Ephraim, I remember the part of his name, Ephraim said initially. We all have stories. We all have stories, you know. We don't come out with all of that story. We don't have it written on our foreheads. But it is the struggle that makes us who we are, that makes us powerful and able to guide others coming behind us. That is the idea. You know, we struggle. By grace or by faith or by knowledge or resilience, all of those things, the other will survive. Life becomes more beautiful, incredible when you have survived something you thought you would never survive. It gives you a power that cannot be imagined. You know, nothing sways you, nothing moves you. It kind of prepares you to deal with things. And then you're someone that can guide younger ones. I speak with young people in my neighborhood. You know, I'm respected for that. That came because I've survived certain things, you know. So thank you for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here. Wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. You know, it is how we see things, and you see how that young man tried to make you and me sound like granddads, right? Tobiloba. I haven't forgotten Tobiloba.
I was a grandma, I think.
No. Yes, I'm a granddad. And my kids are in their
I'm a
30s.
Grammy.
Yeah, but we're not. Me and Olu are not that old.
I have an 18-year-old. Okay.
We're not that old, Joni. We're not that old.
We aren't. I'm 43, but
Right.
it can happen.
Yeah, no, look, no.
Yeah, I'm 52. It's not about the age. It's about the mind.
Yes.
It's not the age. I have a couple of people I run into in my neighborhood who actually behave like they're older than I am. It's the mind. It's the mind.
So
That's
true.
my thought
I
anyway.
went to the
That's
dog
how I
park
feel. I
the
tell
other
my kids.
day. Olu, do you have dog parks there?
Festus,
Do
you're
you
back.
have dog parks? Annie, just let me ask this one question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a.
Do you have a dog park, like where you take your
have a
dog?
dog.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear
Oh
you,
no! Let me make you laugh. You might not like it.
One sec, one sec,
Oh, okay.
Festus, one sec.
Okay.
Go on, Olu. Go on. What are you going to say, Olu?
Do you have a dog park?
Yeah, I think Johnny was asking me if I have a dog that I take to a dog park and all that. Yeah, but let me tell you something which might shock you a bit. Are you kidding me? I'm in Nigeria. Dog pets? No.
Bro,
are you kidding me?
I made friends with
some
all
people at certain
70-year-olds
levels who have.
This is where that came from. I made friends with all these 70-year-olds that are wonderful. So you were saying older doesn't mean necessarily that you are like cast out. It's a wonderful thing. And so that's I go to the dog park with my dogs a lot, and I've made friends, but they're all in their 70s. So that's all. That's all I was saying. So I'll let you guys get back. Annie, you're muted.
The Nigerians don't see dogs the way we do in the West, Joni. It's a bingo. Everyone's got bingo for security. Bingo doesn't come in the house except very rarely. Bingo doesn't sleep on our beds like my dogs do, which kills me. But my wife is, she's, that way inclined.
I do. But bro, on South Side of Chicago, no Black person keeps their dogs in their bed.
Right.
That's a silly, ridiculous question, actually. They're like, no, they are outside. They are protecting our home.
But Francis, welcome. I see you. Thank you for joining us. You're never too late, my friend. Great to have you here. Let's go to Festus. You haven't talked for a long time. Then I want to go to, I think it's Coach David, and then Cyrus, and I'll come back to the top of low bank. Festus, the mic is yours, my friend. What do you make of what you've heard so far?
All right. Well, what I've learned so far is that Africa is a home of great minds. But the problem here is that we have experienced so much pain that we feel we have done so much. We have done all the things that we need to do, and it's not working. Just like right now, I've been battling with my network, right? It will get to a point I'll be like, I did my best. What do you expect me to do? That is the points most of us are at. We've seen so much. We are great people. We've seen so much. And it got to a point that I don't think it's overwhelming, but we feel we've done enough. We've done all that we could. So that is one thing that is really, when you talk about thinking differently, one thing that Africans may not really feel it is because they're actually thinking differently, but something is fighting them. So all that we've got to do, aside thinking differently, is being willing to keep pushing. That's why I believe that if you want an African person to think differently, teach an African person to fail freely, fail without thinking twice. That's the only thing where we don't want to do, right? Because we've done all that we could. Look, I was saying something the other day when I had a call with one of my one person in America. We started speaking on stage, I think probably the same year, 2020. She told me she started, and I appeared on stage 2029 December. That was my first time I picked up my 2019 rather, my craft. I appeared on stage 2019 December. So, but right now she's doing bigger than myself. When we get on call one certain time, she was telling me some stuff, and I'm like, what? You don't. In my mind, I'm like, how do you tell an African to be resilient? We are all resilient out here. How do you tell an African to dream? I've seen people who go to school without footwears. So are you telling me that if that person decided today that they're going to give up, that you're going to say no, they didn't do well? That's the point I'm at. I've learned a lot today, and all I've got to say is that in Africa we've got all that it takes. We've got the minds, we've got the thoughts, we've got the ideas and everything, but we just have to accept the fact that we've got to fail and fail without thinking twice. Maybe because if we fail so much, the world will get to a point where they feel like it will feel like, well, let me let these people pass. And the second thing I would want to say is that in Africa, we kind of love Africa with our words, not with our deeds. Okay, we say a lot of things about Africa. I love Africa. I do this for Africa, but we need actions. What can we do? It's not about thoughts anymore. Let's transfer those thoughts to actions. What can we do? We've got to do something. So that's what I think I'm picking up tonight. And that's why I said I love the energies in this room, because regardless of what was going on, we keep bouncing back. We've been doing this for years. And let's keep doing it. Better days are here. I don't think it's tomorrow, it's here, right now. And we're already showing up. We're doing it the right way. That's what I've got to add. If there's need for me to come back again with any thoughts, I will be glad. Thank you.
Thank you. Look, it's always a struggle for me. Say, if you want to keep me quiet, then talk about a health condition. I've got cancer. I've got whatever, not just cancer. I'm saying any big illness, right? And I'm always minded to say to people, you know what, Festus, if you have such an illness, give up, suffer. But what I just said sounds dumb, right? The answer doesn't change, Festus. Again, yes, I've walked around Nigeria, say in my village in Nigeria, without shoes. We all have, right? Are we to give up? No. We have to change what we see to change our lives. We have to be willing to meet God halfway. I know it's not about religion, it's about spirituality for me, right? There's something bigger than us. That's what I believe, right? Yeah. Whether you call it God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. I'm saying there's something bigger than us out there. Even if you don't believe that, then it's very hard to believe that anything that happens can happen when it's not your doing. And many things happen to us that's not our doing. It's our divine. It's our divine inspiration, divine gift, divine state, divinely determined. Call it what you like. I'm saying, but either way, there's more to our lives than just what we do. But our job, Festus, is to think and then do.
You made such like a positive point. It's now that
Sorry,
we're changing.
I would like to. Sorry, Johnny. Sorry, I'm trying to interrupt right now. I don't know. My network has been bad, but I'm supposed to greet Mr. Anthony especially, and Coach David, Olu, Cyrus, Johnny, yourself, and Alovine, and especially Mr. Ene. Mr. Anthony has been an amazing person. He has been there for me, for one of the people that blessed me since I logged on LinkedIn, started being intentional in the month of July. Yeah, I found him there, and he has been absolutely amazing. So I feel so bad not to have really acknowledged his presence ever since I was given the mic. So I had to just jump right in and say thank you so much, sir, for being here. It's a great privilege to have you on board.
No,
Thank you.
he's a legend. So I have all day and all respect for the man. I always do. I mean,
Cyrus and Coach David too.
we're going to them next. But I say no,
I love
no, the doctor he's a legend, and thank you so much. I'm always truly blessed when you join us. So I like what I like what you say, Olu. We certainly
Annie,
can
can I just make one really quick point? I know I'm like
quick.
talking way too much. Okay. But why have I been to almost every Western European country and Eastern European country, and I have never been to Africa? Because it's so hard to get there. It's so expensive. You have to get so many shots like in like beforehand. It's like a 4-month process. Like it's ridiculous.
It's not true, Joni. It's not.
Oh
Look,
no! You want to look up the United States rules? Yeah, I can't go there without all these like vaccinations. I can't.
It's true.
No, I'm not kidding.
She's right. She's right.
She's not
She's
really.
right.
It's not really. No,
Any
Coach.
perspective is power. Until you have a passport, or you know someone that works at immigration, or you try to bring her into the country as an expatriate, then you know she's right.
It's not true, Coach. I just went to Ghana.
You're from Nigeria.
Please wait. For Africans, it's not true.
You know,
the
thing is,
but for expatriates, I have had to bring in expatriates into Nigeria on some of the projects I've managed in the past. It is not a joke.
It's not a joke. No,
some of the requirements are downright annoying.
All right. Hold on. So let me clarify quickly. Let me clarify the facts, Coach.
You have to go through Dubai and then go to South Africa. Right?
Listen. Yeah, look, to go to Ghana, there's a long list. You can have about 100. I had one vaccination for yellow fever. That's the one that's compulsory.
You're an African. Wait. Number 2, Ghana is a far more organized country. Please do this experiment. Perspective is powerful. Do this experiment, please.
It's not that hard. Look, no.
Please wait.
It's so hard for your.
Get an expert. Please wait.
I couldn't get over there for 4 months.
Ghana is not a good example.
Coach, please. 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Okay.
10 seconds.
Okay.
See, I had yellow fever and I bought malaria tablets. That's it. Right? Whereas my friend Scott, he had 7 injections. I'm like, why'd you have 7 injections?
Wrong analogy, Annie. Wrong analogy.
Why?
Let me explain.
Agree, Coach David.
Let me explain. Okay, get an expatriate, a proper American, full American citizenship, not Nigerian at all. Get that person on a project. Try apply through immigration or try bring them into Nigeria. After you have that experience for an American, do it for a Canadian, do it for a Briton, then do it for an Australian. Let's have a conversation after then. It will shock you. You will begin to admire how easy it is for you to come into Nigeria as a Nigerian or as an African. Ghana is the second, if not the first most organized, actually the most organized immigration port of entry in West Africa is Ghana. Next to Ghana, the Francophone countries. But there are majority, if you see the kind of stress that people go through trying to come in, ease of doing business, I'm telling you real facts on the table, real huge facts. But this is not the big deal. The big deal is we have another opportunity to bring solutions. I just said all of that to say to Joanny that Joanny, despite all of that, people are coming in every day.
I mean,
don't let it deter you.
Right?
It's fun. It's fun to come in. Find a
I want to come in, but it's like it's novel to talk about this. That most Americans, and my best friend and his family, they had to wait 4 months to go to their trip, like throughout Africa. And I think that you're lacking in tourism. So I want to go there, but I can go to Lithuania, no problem.
Right. It's choices, coach. You know I'm a Yubo as far as immigration is concerned, right?
What do you say?
I'm a white person as far as they're concerned. I got a British passport, so they don't see me as a Nigerian.
That's not true.
It is.
You're not white, bro. You're not white.
Coach. You have been away. You are British. I'm telling you at immigration that you are treated because you are black, although you have a British passport. Administratively, there's another layer of stress for a proper Caucasian. Perspective is power. And I'm telling you, I've handled projects across bringing people in and out. It is annoying. There are expatriates that will not touch Nigeria. And I'm sorry to say this. It's not about speaking negative about Nigeria, but I'm telling you that bringing white people into Nigeria, for those who do it, they will tell you there's a lot of hurdles and stress. She's right. There are injections that you can escape not taking because of the color of your skin. It will shock you. Oh yes. There are injections that you won't take because of the color of your skin. But immigration in Nigeria is very strong. But I'm telling you, I've given you the experiment. Please do the challenge. It's not difficult.
We have a doctor here. Let me, coach. I'm saying to you, it's a choice we have to make between what's it now. The only thing that's necessary, yellow fever. There's nothing else that's necessary. That's malaria. You take that.
When last did you check? When last did you check the immigration website? When last did you check the requirements?
September.
I could give a shit if I got a yellow fever. Fine.
Okay.
Just fine.
Honestly,
they won't let me in your country.
Yeah, they will.
Any place, if you have the time, I'd like to say something, please.
Please go for it. And then we're going back to coach. Go on,
okay. Festus said, quite a bit. And that's what I kept it in mind. I wanted to just, Festus, really. So there was a part in his share that, he actually mentioned that we want action, not what I'm getting, what I got from that is this. You see, until I think, regardless of what our country is, what our nationality is, what anything is, until we realize, get to that place that nobody is coming to save us, we will not achieve much.
100% true. 100%
if we do, it will be coincidental. It will not be because, understand that we have to find our way out of the situation that we're in. Nobody is going to come and save us. If anybody does, I've been on LinkedIn now since 2009. Since 2009, I've invested a huge resource earned over the course of those years on being on LinkedIn. Nobody has done me a favor. Do you understand? I have about 20,000 connections. I've had like maybe 3. You understand? Stanley Green, Ed Samuel. So don't sit around. We're not going to sit around. All the other countries where the people are living better lives than we are now, they worked. I know history. History is a very instructive thing for a human being to study if you want to succeed. I knew how the United States was in the days of the frontiersmen, from England, after the issue with the monarchy and all of that, landed, with Mayfair, the ship and all of that. A lot of people struggled. We look at those countries today, France, Europe, United States. People went through a lot. And that is how life is. It's just like when you have kids in your family. They all grow at different paces in different directions. That is how we are in life. Each an evolutionary trajectory. Don't wait. Don't wait. Just keep finding ways. Keep coming up with ideas. Keep reaching out. You have to reach out, though. What would happen is that, I mean, the more the number of times you're lying in a river, the higher the probability that you're going to catch a fish. Keep reaching out.
Agree. Yeah, keep doing. That's what
build
was
something in
saying.
your mind. You know, I have a couple of people that have me now from South Africa. Exactly. Keep pushing it. Keep pushing it. People don't have time, and some people have their own dreams that they've not even achieved a tenth of, even though they're in United States. There are poor people in United States, homeless people. I know. You know, so people sometimes don't of having scammers. That makes people worry of us. You know, even though there are scammers all over the world that come to
there is
find out, you know, but we have a predominant, you know. So I'm sharing with you, Festus, we have to find our way.
We must. Look, you know, so I'll say this. I think it starts with us.
When you're done.
Yeah, and I want to go to Coach, then Sarah, and I'll come back to you, my friend. I think, you know, look, I think the doctor said it earlier, right? It starts with us. We must become the models, the role models. You know, so otherwise, I get this feeling, although people think we're just talking, right? People listen to us and then they do nothing. I think it's on us to do what you're saying. It's for us to keep doing, keep trying, keep dreaming, keep achieving. Let's live the life that will tell people it's possible. That way, we're not telling them; we're showing them. You know they say, if you want someone to know something, don't tell them, show them. Right? You know, let's live the life that we know is possible. Let's dare to dream, dare to do. That's what I talk about all the time, right? And then more people will believe, and they'll get to the place we are today, and then they'll start telling others what we know, what they know works. Gladys, welcome. How you doing? Now, listen, I'm sure it's not your phone, Gladys. LinkedIn's been glitchy for days, but it's getting better now. I think. I think.
Gladys.
You know, Olu. I say this, Olu. You and Festus, I have a business idea that we need to discuss. You know, because I think we can change some people's lives. So now let's do a call out.
I just confirm that that's true. There is so many homeless people in America, and most of them are Black. I'm sorry, they are. And you just get off at a highway, there people are begging, and it's like, it's concerning. I work at a homeless intake shelter, so I'm just like always giving out my card with $1, and like I'll give you Lucky Charms if you come in. But that's actually a terrible thing to say. But I know it's true. He's right. There is so much homelessness.
But it comes down to choices we make. Let's talk to Coach David.
Yeah.
Everything's choices that we make, things we choose to do or not do, is what gets us to where we are. Circumstances are always going to be hard for everyone, but we must choose. And this is about living, as Doctor said. What do you believe? What's your values? This is the truth the world over. You know, I'm always amazed, Joni. Look, there's homeless people everywhere, right? Everywhere, every country has them. And then you wonder, have they done the work to live their purpose, to add to humanity? No.
It doesn't matter. Like,
of course it matters.
No, because what if they have like not money to have health insurance, and then America, you need health insurance to get psychological services, and I just I don't know. there's so many
No,
homeless.
no, 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 no,
There
no, no. I
are.
refuse. Look,
There are.
look. I accept you have, you have a health bill which bankrupts most Americans. I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I'm saying, right. If you know this, guess what you do? From when you're a kid, you work hard. You live, you find your purpose. You live with true
What if you
intention.
didn't have that motivation from your parents?
Then you lose. You become homeless later on. That's life, right?
Shit.
That's what happens.
Shit.
So don't blame. You can't blame
They don't believe in
society.
that.
It's choices that they make. Look, I got
No,
here today. You
I don't believe it.
Oh, you got here today by sacrificing, by doing, by believing something, Joni. That's how we all got here.
I
Those who
did, but
didn't,
I also
can't help
had
you.
an education behind me. So, like,
Yes.
I knew even if I was failing with a
Right.
marriage, I could do it because I had a degree and I knew like the right people to talk to. A lot of homeless people do not know anything about anything. Like it's actually crazy.
Look,
I've
it's the
talked to a lot
choices they make, my friends. They make the choices, and they made the bed. They have to lie on it. There's no way around it. We can't help them because they made the choices.
They didn't make their choice. Okay, I'm gonna table this and
let's talk about it. Let's do a room and talk about it.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
They made the bed. No, the doctor is not here because he decided to sleep every day and go out with his friends when he was younger. He chose to work and chose to believe in himself and chose to want to help people.
I'm really glad I can go out at 40.
Yeah, so am I. Let's talk to Coach David.
I didn't really go out in my 20s either, so okay. Nor do I like.
Annie, that's a very poor analogy for saying they make their bed considering they're homeless.
I accept that wholeheartedly, Cyrus. I accept that. The wrong pun, right? At the wrong time. Yeah. And I know what I'm trying to say, right? Anyway, let's go to Coach, and we'll come to you, Cyrus. Coach, talk to us. Do we need to change our thinking to reframe our disadvantages and see them as opportunities, as our superpowers?
Absolutely. Yes, and there's no.
I do see your new book, by the way. Congratulations. You're prolific. You are. The man got another new book out. I'm looking at it now. Meditative Intelligence.
Actually there are two of them. There's Meditative Intelligence. Let me send the second one. And Anti-Fragile.
The ultimate playbook for mental clarity, resilience, and performance. You see, now the reason I mentioned the book is Coach David is that man who thinks it, knows it, and then creates it, right? He doesn't think, oh, that would be a useful book for humanity. He thinks it and he creates it. The man's, that's why I call it a genius, Coach.
Yeah.
Good on you. Good on you.
Yeah, thank you so much. The second one is Anti-Fragile Careers. Actually, I have about 4 coming out, and any this is different from what you and I are doing. And I say that to say a bigger point. And now I'm in my 40s. My first idea to write a book was about the age of 8, 9, 10. But I never wrote anything. Then I was 15 or 16. I never wrote. Then by my 20s, I got very sucked up with life and careers. I began to say things like things are tough, life is tough, and different excuses. And I'm now in my 40s before I started writing. Now, when you take a disadvantaged perspective, it disempowers you. When you already agree that there's a disadvantage, it disempowers you. It gives you limited choices. You begin to sound immediately like there's a problem. If I tell you some of my stories, if I tell you some of my stories, I'm asking myself, why didn't I start writing? As I'm talking to you, I have about 8 manuscripts. You and I have about 2 in the works. I have about 8 I'm working on. Now, that's because life is going. Anyways, life is going. Whether you succeed or fail, you will be the one to reap advantage of it. How long would we continue to brand disadvantage? How long would we continue to shout, oh, there's a disadvantage. Oh, I'm an African. Oh, for how long? I mean, if you say things like, oh, things are very hard. Yes. Nobody believes in me. Yes, next. Despite all of that. So one can take disadvantages and brand them
I need money,
as
coach. I need money to have an idea and do anything.
yes, next. You're not the first person who will need money. Yes. So what next? You continue. So and thank you for saying that. So the next question will be, so you would continue to need money. Tomorrow you will need money. Day after you need money. After a while, people are going to start avoiding you because you are needing money. Now, that is not to say that there are no disadvantages. I mean, there's a lot of motivational jokes on social media about how people started whole food business chains with a grain of rice, or how you started a car manufacturing company with just a wheel, or with just steering wheel alone or something. I'm not saying that extreme. What I'm saying is disadvantage should not be branded. I think it was Mr. Olu said that is the design. We came into the world to solve problems. With each problem, we ascend a new level. This is why education was crafted. Everything was turned into problems: English problems, mathematical disadvantage, English language disadvantage, uh, integrated science disadvantage, social studies. And as you continued class after class, year after year, you kept solving those problems, overcoming those disadvantages, and then you got more competent. So competency is built out of a disadvantage. The disadvantage of yesterday is the advantage of today. And the advantage of tomorrow will introduce us to some newer problems. Every time you solve a problem, a new one will come up anyway. So you will never escape disadvantages. There's an economy of disadvantage and there's an economy of advantage. Which side of the line would you exist? Would you continue to say, I have a disadvantage every day and then not move forward? And at the end of the day, you are now, in quotes, out of sync with life. iPhone 13 had imperfections and disadvantages. That's how iPhone 14 was built. iPhone 14 had issues, had disadvantages, or what it did not have. Then iPhone 14 Pro came. Then, like that, you have iPhone 15. It's the disadvantage of one level that introduces perfection or success of tomorrow. So the idea of embracing disadvantages and turning them to superpowers is the way greatness is made. What are disadvantages in my life? And there are in life there are ways of measuring what disadvantage I should focus on to solve. Out of 10 disadvantages, according to the economist Alfredo Pareto, there are 1, 2, or 3 disadvantages out of the top 10 disadvantages that will give you 80% of results to go to the next level. If you don't know those ones, survey them. You mentioned one, any the money problem. It's a very interesting one. And coming back to the African conversation, Africa is a land of opportunities because we are not saturated in terms of growth, but there are other kinds of psycho infrastructural problems. Apart from physical capital, if you throw money at a lot of people, I am afraid. I've seen people talk and make a lot of heavy noise. When the push comes to shove on the ground, their competencies are questionable. They can't deliver the things they talk about a lot. There are many people who call themselves different things on social media with bloated CVs and profiles that if you throw capital at them, you are sure to end up both you and them in penury because they can't really solve much problems. So the key is while you're waiting for that big break or that capital, be that person that can solve the problem. And guess what? If you truly can solve a problem and you know how to do it, inside that problem is capital. Begin to solve it for your first 5 customers, then get the next 10 customers, then get the next. Make sure that your first 20 customers are now start raving fans. Make them introduce you to others. And from there, begin to build the necessary platform for the problem or disadvantage that you are solving. The problem is, and there are people that have brought capital into Africa. Capital is very shy. People run away once you drop money on the table. I mean, you hear statements like there are no jobs anywhere. It's not true. There are no jobs that people are qualified for, or the kind of jobs available, they don't like it, or it's not paying them the salary they want. It's like saying there are no opportunities, or like saying they have too many disadvantages. Those things don't exist. What exists are states of mind or paradigms or perspectives that are not empowered. And there is environmental infrastructure that is very strong. And I use those words. There are systems that have made us a certain way in Africa. We've had bad leadership, undeveloped environment, a lot of envy, a lot of crab mentality. When one African shines, we don't collaborate well enough to lift that person up. We begin to compete heavily, wanting to pull the person down. Ordinary sharing ideas, people are going to oppose you, not from the perspective of making what you're saying better, but totally to say what you're saying is rubbish and you cannot know more than me. Brass, crass, envious conversation. I'll round up in a minute, just to build up on somebody else's philosophy. By the way, all protocols observed, everyone on the stage, thank you. I'm excited to be here, and my not acknowledging you is not a sign of disrespect, forgive me. Just very excited at the conversation. So we need to learn to build on each other and form what you call compound capital by collective efforts. It's even in governance. The previous administration must start a new educational project. And since primary school, there's been a new educational project. In primary one, there was a government. When I got to primary four, another government. All the way till today, every 4 years or 8 years, the new administration, state by state, my local government, at federal levels, are always starting new initiatives. They don't go and consolidate on what the other guy did. Even economy, one government in Nigeria, for example, paid up all our debt. This new government saying they want to do the same thing. In between that last guy that paid and this one, we accumulated debt. It also happens at the state level. There's some disjointed system and aggregated thinking that's not there. Despite that, can we begin to self-organize? We have MTN working today. We have V-Mobile working today. We got Shell. We got Dangote. There are enterprises working in the same economy where a lot of us are complaining in. What's my point? We need to find collaborative capital. We need to find a means of finding like-minded people, a few good minds who will collaborate and trust each other, because trust is a thing in Africa. Wait until the money comes. Wait until your business becomes 10 million success. Wait until 100 million. Wait until 200 million. Wait until you make a billion. Wait until you have 3 billion. Wait until the money really becomes big and you see greed on the table. So we need to find collaborative people who can build enterprise with hard work, despite the systems and the issues. In fact, what about creating those systems? Today, agriculture has opportunity, electricity has opportunity. You mentioned the one about the internet, beautiful opportunities everywhere. All those disadvantages are opportunities. The only issue is, can we even work together as individuals, in twos, in threes, in families, among friends, those who know each other? Can we begin to build systems, structure, and infrastructure of greatness for the coming generation? Or we will continue telling our children that that's how Africa is, the same way our daddies and our uncles and aunties have told us. Remember, the tragedy of life is that we never met ourselves. Before you were able to meet yourself, you met your parents. You first of all, a tabula rasa, then you met your parents. Then after your parents, you met teachers, aunties, uncles. So you finally met yourself maybe at 35 or 40 before you even know meaning. I also like to say one last thing. The people you listen to, the signals you listen to, the conversations you give your ears to. I'm sorry, I will use the scripture. Faith comes. He has a route. Faith has a channel. It's by hearing, and hearing the word of God. Fear comes, despondency comes, lack comes, poverty comes, success comes. What I'm calling disadvantage comes. What shapes your hearing? What do you hear? What's your predominant conversation as an individual? What's your predominant conversation? Are you listening to people who are not doing anything? Are you listening to fellow frustrated people? Are you in the company of the miserable, or are you among progressives? And lastly, watch your heart and ensure that you are happy for others, because there's a brand of witchcraft. I jokingly tell people, if you don't believe in the success of people, or you feel jealousy or envy when people do better than you, It's a matter of time. You're a junior witch. You will soon appear in meetings. That's a joke, by the way. The point I'm making is we have many successes and lights in our midst. Can we begin to light each other's candle? Can we begin to supply fuel and strength one another's idea and build each other up devoid of any negativity, and so that we can give opportunity to many Africans? I yield the mic. I'm practicing not to talk for long.
Oh,
Thank you.
Coach
There's a,
David,
all right.
can I just say one quick thing before he exits? Okay, the United States, we all don't like each other. Like every state is so insular, and sometimes the state is like, you know, divided in half. Like Pennsylvania, like Pittsburgh is Midwest and Philadelphia is East Coast. And so we do not have, like, I have no familiarity with people from, let's say, Nevada or New Mexico or Washington State. I don't. I know we're all part of the United States, but we also have that issue. And I just didn't want to like let people not know that because it's important.
Can I give you a quick answer? Can I give you a quick answer to that?
Yeah, of course.
One answer to that. So you guys have meaning that is the same. From Nevada to Atlanta to Georgia, a table is a table, a chair is a chair, a goat is a goat, a ben is. In Nigeria, we have 250 about 450 ethnic languages and counting. Let me tell you the implication of that. That means, Joanny, we don't agree to the meaning of meaning. We don't have the same meaning. We don't have the same value system. In some places, in a whole local government, the most educated person could be a polytechnic OND. That is the lowest part of tertiary education. And in some states, you got a professor with 6 PhDs. In Ekiti State, you have professors with 12 PhDs, but they are very poor states. Yes,
Hey,
but
you're right.
but in Sokoto State, there are local governments where the highest person there did not do more than primary 6, can not speak anything except Fufude, not even Hausa.
Yeah, okay. I get it.
Lastly, there's nothing called pan-Nigeria. What you have is a country of different ethnicities, meanings, ethos, identity, value.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States of America, there's the American dream. There is what it means to be an American.
It's like such an
Everybody's
American dream.
chasing.
That everybody's chasing.
I said how impressed I was with like the multiple languages. I think that's really so amazing. Like I wish I could do that, and is amazing. I just didn't want anyone thinking that like here we don't have like this like division like we do.
Oh, they exist, but there are things.
The laws are different between states. Like you
yes,
parking tickets are different between states.
Oh yes.
I
But
mean,
however,
taxes are. So just saying.
Joanny, but the cohesion in the American society compared to the chaos, the spectrums are different. There are places we can't even communicate or have a conversation.
Yeah.
You can't compare it. You see, Joanny, you understand that.
I do understand. Yep.
That the laws. Hold. Watch this. You understand that the laws are different. You could even comprehend that the laws are different.
Where?
That Nevada has a different driving law. In Nigeria, we don't even understand how different we are.
Yeah.
Our meaning. There are words. See, there are words in Igbo that has no correlatory component of meaning in the Yoruba language. There are words in Fufude, Ibiobio.
No, I get it.
That have no at the level of the soul. At the level of the soul, there's some defragmentations. We can't even negotiate. We can't even negotiate federality. In the United States, there's negotiation. All the states can come to the table.
I'll speak English here. Yep, that is.
Thank you.
We all do. We all can Hey,
but
if you
beyond the
communicate
English,
and just
but beyond the
put the middle finger up and be like, "Get out of my way," and that's
thank you. But beyond the English language, Johnny, meaning, understanding, values.
It's coach.
But in Africa, in Nigeria, there are tribes where the men and the women don't speak the
it's
same
not
language.
Christian.
Watch this, Johnny. There are tribes when the men and women don't speak the same language. There's a place in Ondo State called Akoko-Edo. This is near the waters. On the same street, house number 1 is beside house number 2. House number 2 is beside house number 3. House number 1 and house number 2 don't speak the same language. Number
Oh
2
my
and
god!
number 3, I am
It's
telling you,
war.
if
You
you
know
cross
what?
the road,
Good
in
God!
some of those communities, they marry each other. It's going to be war. There'll be civil war.
It's like Romeo and Juliet.
Thank you. And one is speaking French, the other is speaking German.
S'il vous plaît.
The
Coach.
kinds of defragmentation we are dealing with. So if you see a commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic, he's a commander-in-chief of several republics, coordinating the thought processes of the nation as a system can keep him awake, passing through one argument. Because, I mean, some people don't have reference. Some people, the only thing they have is cattle as neighbors. Thank you.
No.
The only thing they have is cattle. And
You
I mean,
guys do hold on to a grudge. I'm telling you guys, hold on to a grudge way too hard.
You're gonna keep us here all day.
Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna mute
Go on,
myself.
Tobaloba.
I love.
Go on, Tobaloba.
Coach, is talking, he's saying something that is huge, like something that I have experience with. When I was 14 was when I left home, and then I think at the age of 19, I found myself in Ekiti State, right? You made mention of Ekiti. You see them speak good English. They have degrees. They have PhDs. They are professors.
their degrees are more than thermometer. The degree
But
of
they
the
don't
Ekiti
have
man
airports in Ekiti even up to now.
till
They are
tomorrow.
just building their second overhead bridge as at when I left there. They are not done. In a capital state, overhead bridge, as much as they are talented, they have the most, don't let me use a foul word, don't let me use bad word. You see,
It's
their youth, they are nothing to be wrong
contradictory.
about. There's nothing to be right, anything about. So let me paint a scenario. When I started this online thing, I was in Ekiti. Do you understand? But you see, youth in Ekiti, I hope this thing is going to get somewhere. I just pray that it get to so many people who are in Ekiti who can hear me directly, right? I started this online thing, being a copywriter and everything. You will see these young boys who are my age mates mocking you, telling you that you better do fraud. That's where you could be able to get real money from. I still sell to myself that I think I'm a very big change to the world. There's a time that I began to tell myself, I think I am the environment. The environment is not affecting me because all of them, they are doing the same thing. And I just sat down. I'll be like, I want to be different. I want to do something differently. Until I left Ekiti in May this year. Same thing you're saying about those Akoko and something. Do you know that in Ekiti, even when they are speaking Yoruba in some part of Yoruba land, when others are speaking the same Yoruba language, we still find it difficult to understand what our fellows are saying.
Brotherly, not difficult. You can't understand it. It's actually a different
You can't
dialect.
understand it. You will hear them tell me, Nekit, that you are a visitor like Alejo. Okay? They will speak some things that you cannot have understanding or read meaning to. I've been to different part of place. I've practically been to all the Yoruba land. I've practically been there. I'm currently in Ijebu, the Ogun State. So I've been to so many, I've been to so many places in Nigeria. So I can tell you, sir, that that's where the problem is coming from. You want to you want the word that is changed. You are trying to do something that is good, or they will now want you to, you'll be the one that is stupid when you're among them. You'll be the stupid one. They are doing the wrong thing. If all of us are doing the wrong thing, does that make it the right thing? No. But they will do the wrong thing. They want you to make it. Do you know that some part of them is their parent that is encouraging them to be doing fraud? They encourage them. Where my mom must not see. I remember when I stole 5 naira back then. I took 5 naira. My mom split money in the room, and I took 5 naira from the money. I'm talking about like maybe when I was 4 years old or 5 years old. I still have the money in my
we need
purse.
to go sometime today. 3 hours in, nearly 3 hours. We can't be here all day. I got another show.
I mean,
So
I'm
we
loving it,
No,
Eddie.
no.
Don't cut it off. I love it.
Any, you shouldn't be bringing up. You shouldn't be bringing such wonderful people and coming up with such interesting topics.
I mean,
Yes,
so
I
interesting.
mean,
think me making
the thing
people
just
wait.
feels like a family
Look,
chat.
yeah, no, look, I agree, but that's a different show, right? You know, Opeyemi, I agree with you. Nigeria will have different values.
please,
I think all of
it's a different
Africa
All
show.
right,
will have
see
different
you
values.
play.
You know, look, I will say this, my friend. We need to be honest with ourselves. We need to truly be honest. You know, some people argue with you. You know, is there truth? They're like, no, the truth depends on what I think is true. No, we know what is right. We know what's going to help people. Let's be honest with ourselves, and let's do what we know is right. Otherwise, look, nothing's going to work. Let me say that again. You know, if we don't have the right values to help people, nothing works. Nothing works. Success, happiness, you know, wealth is not going to come to you. If you know that you are at the back of your mind doing something that doesn't really help people, you know, God will find you out. I can't help you. That's just how it is. There's something Coach David said, which I want to pick on. He mentioned competency, being good at doing something. Coach, why don't we aim for mastery? Being so good at what we do that the world needs us. That's the key.
Yep.
That's the key. No, and so not enough of us aim for mastery. We aim for barely able. Like you said, you know, the people who bloated CVs, you've been very generous. They're lying, Coach. You know that. I know that. They have no real skill. That's lie. That's a lie, right?
Yeah.
But imagine if they were good at something, really good, so good that they're at the top of the game. We can be. We have to be.
Yeah.
Let me go to Cyrus.
Have to
Cyrus has
be,
been here for a while.
Eddie.
Cyrus has been here for a while.
Wait,
Let's
no,
talk to
I'm
him.
sorry.
No,
Toby.
Cyrus has been here for an hour.
Toby is so right on the fact that, you know, like, oh, my
Joni, it's an event. Cyrus must speak.
What? Cyrus won't mind about this.
He will
Cyrus,
mind.
are you okay?
You're not on my DMs, and I know what Cyrus thinks. I'm talking to him on my DMs.
Okay, I was going to talk about Nigeria.
No, you have to wait.
Okay,
Let Cyrus
I'm
speak
waiting.
first.
I'm waiting. Okay.
Go on, Cyrus.
Hi everyone. That's fine. Thanks everyone for your great shares. I've been enjoying what Joni shared, what Olu shared, Abiloba and Tabiloba, and a lot of people on the stage shared valuable nuggets. I hope this won't make people feel hungry when I say nuggets. So
McDonald's.
I know. Every time I hear the word nuggets, it makes me feel hungry. So the points that people have been making that has been making me think, and I'm loving it, and that is the reason why I come to this room, and I learn a lot because people don't. There's no censorship in any All Songs rooms. There's certainly no censorship, which makes it fantastic. It's not a echo chamber, and I love rooms like this. So the discussion, a part of the discussion was advantage and disadvantages. When Arlovin was talking about it, this day and age, the whole thing is the whole internet thing has turned has turned the whole world into an internet village, right? Everything's gone global, and it's a playing field for people who want to succeed, right? And it's up to you if you want to succeed or not, really. And not succeeding in today's world is just a matter of not doing things right. If you're not doing it right, you won't get the results you want, and it's on you. Sometimes some of my students, some of the CEOs I'm working with, they just turn around and say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. You know what, I'm tired of this. This is too hard. I think I've changed my mind. I don't want to do it. And I'm like, do you know what's going to happen if you don't do it? And they're like, what's going to happen? I'm like, nothing's going to happen. Somebody else has already been doing it for ages, and they have been making millions out of your idea. Your ideas have already been done. Other people are making money out of them, and you are wondering if your idea is going to work or not. So you need to work on your mentality, because your mind is like the vehicle that takes you from where you are now to where you want to be, right? And because it's a vehicle based on rules of physics, you can never drive faster than the vehicle you are in. That is your vehicle. Your mind is your vehicle, isn't it? So, and if you feel you can, if you feel you can't, either way, both case scenarios, you are right, right? That is also something that Henry Ford said years and years ago, right? If you think you are right, if you think you can, if you think you can't, either way, you are right. So we are in the business of proving a point from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed again, right? So some of us are proving a point. So there's 3 categories of people when we are pursuing our goals. Category A, we want to prove to the world that despite our circumstances, we're going to make it, and we are making it. Category B, all the circumstances are in our favor, and that's how we are making it. We have the best team in the world. We have everything's on our side. That's why we are making it. So those are the positive thinkers. There is a rare category which I love, and that's the category of people who are not there to prove a point. They're there to improve a point. They're not there to prove things. They're there to improve things, right? Those are the gold dust. They obviously, we all have reasons behind what we do, but these people, the category C, they are the most phenomenal and most amazing people in the world. They change the world. They are the world changers. No reason, no nothing. They just want to get things done. And always remember, how is it that a chain will break? Where is it that how is it that a chair will break? A chair will break from the weakest leg. A chain will break from the weakest link, right? So, and always remember, as long as you're on the planet, as long as you're on the ground, it's a good day. You can do it. And Olu, your mentality is the mentality that Africa and the rest of the world needs, right? You gotta do it. Just stop thinking or stop overthinking and just do it. And when you look at people's mentality, some people feel, well, I have fashionable shoes. I have brand new shoes, but I wish they were fashionable, right? Then you find another person who says, I have second-hand shoes. I wish I had brand new shoes. Then you get other people who are like, I've never had shoes. I wish I had shoes, right? Then you find people who tell you, forget about shoes. I have one leg, right? I wish I had 2 legs. And then you see another person who says, I wish I had legs. right? So your circumstances are never perfect. Okay, so perfection is the enemy of progress. Perfection is the enemy of progress. So, and always remember, if you don't make it, nothing will happen. Somebody else will make it. So, okay, so you might as well go out there and do fantastic things. Change the world. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely agree with you, my friends. And our time is now. So I love what Olu says. Say, we will make it. We have to make it, not just in Africa, but all over the world, particularly in Africa, though.
I say something.
Yes, of course, of course. I'll never stop you saying, please feel free. I'll come back to all these points.
Yeah, I think these are my closing words. I love what Cyrus mentioned about the third category of people. We need people who are ready to improve the system. And we need people who are ready to build the minds. We're talking about action, taking action, making something happen. That's what we need to do. That's the takeaway that we can have here from this discussion. We need to go out to do something. I've gained a lot from that. I have two people like that in Nigeria. Faladro Toye is one. Around 2004, I think he established the Speakers Corner. I was one of the people that registered for that program, having a new vision for Nigeria. He said he's going to raise a generation that is empowered and motivated to steer towards natural excellence. And I gained a lot from that program. That's somebody that took action about what was happening, that will change people's mind from negative to positive. So we need to really do something to push all these ideas into the minds, especially the minds of the younger ones. Another person is Dr. Abibola Metoye, the 110 Academy. He does the program every month. He does it in Abeokuta, he does it in Ibadan, he does it in Lagos. Every month, he does it free of charge to people, to change minds, to have new mindsets. So these are things that we can do. And they have motivated me. I wrote a book. I identified 21 habits that can change minds. We have two types of habits, intrapersonal habits and interpersonal habits. If you don't have intrapersonal habits, you can't have interpersonal habits. Because it's only when a tree have good roots that it can have good fruits. So, and I use this book, I distribute it to schools, and I use it to teach life skills. That's why I love that person who talked about writing books. So when you write these books, you get it across to people, so that these are things that can change minds. One of the problems we have in Africa is that we rarely read books. And it's only by reading books that we can raise our bar. When we read books and we associate with the right people, as I mentioned, the right people, and we do a lot of self-reflection about where we are going. So with all these things, we can turn our disadvantages into superpower. So that's my take. That's my submission for now. Thank you very much. And you are already doing it. You are doing it. What you are doing, you are really doing something good towards this idea. And I pray that you continue to have the strength to push it further. Thank you
I
so
certainly
much.
do. Thanks to people like you, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. There are people doing great things, and I say, we need to be those people too, right? Now, Doctor, I'll DM you, I'll WhatsApp you. We need to talk. Say we need to turn it up. That's my thinking. We need to turn up what we're doing, rather than just talking. We actually need to begin to take action. So
Andy?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, before I go, before I say goodbye to everybody, I was going to say, if you're a coach or if you're an author or if you've created a program for Nigeria, right? One of the things that I've learned in the ellipsis method, you can Google that. You'll find ellipsis on Amazon. So based on this, instead of saying I have created a program for Nigeria, just say I have created a program for Nigerians. Instead of saying I have created a book for our schools, you can say I have created a book for students or teachers. So the more you humanize it, the more personable it becomes, and people the better people will connect with it. So remember, you're not creating it for those boundaries, you're not creating it for the country, you are creating it for your countrymen. Thank you.
People. No, I agree with you. Thank you all for sharing genius. I can't thank you enough, really. So again, I want to quickly finish up with Oluwaseyi's point. He says we need conscious, deliberate, intentional, almost spiritual transmutation. I think that's the alchemy. That's why I call it Olu. We need there's a spiritual component which many of us choose to ignore, but the spiritual component just simply brings us back to ourselves, our true selves, our inner selves. That's where I say. And I say that's in a way we're going to create what appears to be a most discouraging vista of negative realities. We must rise out of that reality using what it's a seed, and that's a fertilizer. We need to start doing, my friends, and we will start doing. We talk and then we go and do that. That's the way we must live. So my plea today to everyone is let's be the example to others. The only way we become the example is by living the dream. That's the key, right? Anyway, so let's quickly round up, my friends. I have got another show to do, so literally, I want to spend 5 minutes to round up the show today. Mr. Tobiloba, we cut you short. Well, the internet cut you short.
LinkedIn, dog. LinkedIn.
So, what do you want to leave us with in terms of finishing off?
Anyways, I just wish like we have more time some other day to discuss more, and we can bring our African brothers
Three
to the
hours. 3 hours is long
yeah
enough. But
later on,
of
right?
course, we'll come back in 2 weeks' time. And then, of
It's a
course,
whole lot
you
of
and
time.
I are embarking on our tour of Nigeria and of Africa to spread the message that we're sharing
Yes.
here.
So it's a whole lot of things that has really been shared today, and thanks to I love to call you from you to Olu to Anthony. I'll call you people like to our daddies, that has been on the stage because when coach was sharing something right before we come into the whole stuff, he was sharing something like what next, you've had this problem, we have this problem, and then he was painting a scenario of like if iPhone 15 was perfect, there wouldn't be a need for 17, there would be a need for 16, there would be a need for new thing that has been created. So I'm going to leave up with that. If our fathers or our mommies or our brothers, our elder ones were able to get everything right, there will be nothing for us to do. Right? Now, because they didn't get it all right, that's a job for us that we need to do. There are things for us that we need to, put our mind into and make better. And to be very honest, we also cannot get it better. You see, graphic designers too. All the graphic designer, the way I'm looking at things now, they will all lose their job. Everybody. So the world is involving, nothing is on our side. So this is the time we need to activate our nimbleness. We need to activate our nimbleness and change to the world. The way the world is evolving, we should change with it. We should evolve with it and make our life better. A lot of job is going to be taken away. A lot of digital job is going to be taken away. AI has come. AI is coming and he has stayed. He has come to change so many things. So please, we must activate our nimbleness and make sure that we contribute our own code to how the world needs to be changed. So be the change that you are looking for. Don't look for like you wish this thing change. Try to be the change, and we can make the world a better place. I yield the mic and thank you so much for all you do. I really appreciate you, Ernie. Thank you so much
No,
for all
thank
you do.
Thank you,
about
thank
3
you,
years.
thank you so much. And now look, I think you make a big point, which is one that we should take away today, right? Everyone can use AI. Everyone. It's a tool that's available to everyone. The tools are anyway, right? The difference maker is us. What do we as Africans want to create using the tools? That's the real challenge to global, right? That's a brief that God's given us. What's inside you that no one else knows and no one else can do? If you're going to use AI to write blog posts, so can I. Everyone here can do the same thing. Sarah's probably the best at it, right? But if you're going to use AI to create solutions that Africa needs, the things that no one else has done before, maybe improve on what's been done before, from what you're saying, from what our forefathers did before. How can AI really improve and give us a better way of living? That's the task we have at hand. And that's a gift we have. It all ties together, right? So people talk about AI as if AI. The way I say is this: I can give everyone here a hammer. It doesn't make you a carpenter. It doesn't make you a master carpenter. That's for sure. I'm saying, we need to develop ourselves, develop our gift to truly create with that hammer, with the AI tools. That's how we change our world. That's how we change the world. Africans can, if only they actually believe and dare to dream, dare to look within what God's given them. God, we started off talking about advantages and disadvantages and superpowers, right? So all the problems that we've talked about, as Coach David was talking about earlier, these are opportunities to create genius. If only we could see it as that. If we see it as that, we can create remarkable solutions and move ourselves forward. If we see it as a problem, guess what? We're stuck. We're stuck, right? And we can't be stuck. And between all of us here, I'm sure we're committed to not let Africa be stuck. We must move ourselves forward. We must move our brothers and sisters forward. So, Mike, I love what you say. Welcome, Mike. Mike says, "I think globally, I act globally." That's it right there.
Wow.
Mr. Calm, you've been quiet for a while, so please do share with us.
All right. I'll be quick, but thank you very much, Annie. I'll just say a couple of things. To master your emotions is to control our emotions and use that emotional energy in tackling the trials and tribulations we encounter while imbuing a calm spirit or emotion. So, to master your emotions is to control our emotions and to use that emotional energy in tackling the trials and tribulations we encounter while imbuing a calm spirit or emotion. Try that for the next couple of months and see where you go. Number 2.
Beautifully said. I agree entirely. You got number 2, please feel free.
AI is African intelligence, powered by ancestral intelligence. AI is African intelligence, powered by ancestral intelligence. Run with that for a moment, or many moments. See where you go. I leave the floor to you, Annie. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I certainly appreciate this banter that we've had.
What was that banter, Michael? No,
Well,
thank
it's better than
you.
whiskey, that's for sure.
You know what? I think this AI conversation is always it gets me energized because I think people seem to think AI, ChatGPT, is the miracle. My African brothers and sisters, here's the reality. What if you're the miracle? because you are. AI is not a miracle. AI is a tool. You're the miracle. It's what you think, what you know, what you dream. That's the miracle. What you're willing to do. That's the game changer. AI can do, AI only becomes African intelligence, Michael, when we truly use it to do what we need to do for our brothers and sisters, for our communities. That's the genius. AI is not the genius. We're the geniuses. If only we dare to believe and actually dare to live that way. Miracles happen every day. Really, that's the key. Olu, let me give you, Aluvine, are you still there? I'll give you the last word. So let me go around quick and say, ask your final thoughts in terms of our conversation today. How do we move beyond disadvantages to see us to really realize our superpowers?
So yes, I'm still with you. I've learned a lot. Thank you, everyone here. It was very empowered, these moments, these words. And my last word should be that one. We need to make sure our foundation is solid in order to be able to change our mind. I mean, if we don't have the right foundation to build something, to change our mind, we will have nothing. It is like you want to build your house with your foundation in sand, or you want to build an house with a foundation from some, I don't know, water. You can build your foundation just in water. You need to have solid ground. So we need to have that in order to succeed, and go toward our goals and changing our mind. And like that, we will be able to help our sisters and brothers. We will be able to be the leader we can be. Because yes, I think African has this power, they don't know they have, because they had been taught that they have nothing to offer except just to be there, and that's not good. I think that's my take, and thank you very much, everyone.
No, thank you so much. It's, again, a million. That's a million dollar truth there, right? If only we truly believed. That's a foundation, right? It starts with belief. It starts with maybe it starts with daring to dream, but believe that we can do it. Believe that we're gifted. And have the right values. The right values are simply aiming to help humanity, aiming to help a community, aiming to help people. And so I'm using Dr. Anthony's points 5 steps earlier, right? Imagine if we didn't act out of fear. Imagine if we didn't live with fear. Imagine if we lived with faith in our potential, in our gift. Imagine what the world would. That's a foundation, right? For creating genius. We all have it all. We can see opportunities or we can see disadvantages in the choices ours. If we choose to see things for what they are, we are going to be better people for it. And we change our world. We change Africa as well whilst we're there. We can build that wealth, success, and happiness that I truly dream about for all of us. Mr. Olu, let's say again, thank you for being here. Thank you for being the genius that you are. Please, give us your last message today that we can take away. You're still muted. Okay.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks a lot for creating these spaces. They are really of value, and I think somebody must have touched on of our faith, our religion, and all of that. There is that understanding by some, that all is energy. And depending on the frequency and the vibration of the energy, not neglecting, because I want to try and make it purely scientific and mechanical so that I don't upset anybody or offend anybody or make anybody uncomfortable. We aggregate, towards one another based on the harmony of our frequencies. When we interact like this, beyond the words that we speak, we have that vibration that we all feel, and we know how therapeutic, how healing vibrations can be. And so far from the time we've spent, I can see that I feel I could be wrong, in some regard. It's been a wonderful experience. It's been uplifting. It's been encouraging. It's been fun and all that. So by doing this, I think, as Mr. Ayoade said, thanking you for doing this, and I and several other people, we become more, really. We're kind of laying a foundation for the future of humanity, how humanity would live and interact. So I really believe that we just have to keep trying, whenever we can spare some time. It's not only money that we have to give, I will share this with you. Any very earlier on, when I didn't have any faith in LinkedIn, he basically, and I'm not saying this, some people who know me well enough know the kind of person that I am. I don't say things unless I mean it. And that's, I've gone through enough in my life. So I don't do flattery, I don't do compliments, and I speak my mind. He was the of the progress that I've made since that time on LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn since 2009, nothing much. The only business opportunity I had was with a gentleman in New York, I think it is, and he was a Nigerian that had gone from Nigeria to US. So that was more or less was understandable. Zero, and I was spending incredible amounts of money. And he introduced me, and I started. Every other contract and opportunity I've had since then was from LinkedIn events. Stanley Green, Ed Samuel, so many other people I'm not going to mention because they're not so popular. They're like, So wherever we can, I know we're all busy. We all have dreams. That is the reality that some of us overlook. We all have things in our life. We grew up having dreams, People like me have shifted the goalposts over the years. We thought by the time we're 25, we'll be multimillionaires. By the time we're 35 and all of that. And we didn't lose hope. We didn't become depressed. We didn't go and sit down in one corner wallowing in self-pity. We redirected ourselves, and we realized that, well, it's just the way the world is. Sometimes things don't always work the way you thought they would. But that does not mean that you still won't make progress. It's just that you might now make progress based on a different timetable and in another direction. I think it was someone that mentioned that sometimes you don't even know yourself until you're 40. I'm still finding out who I am. I used to have very specific, interests and tastes in women and stuff like that when I was younger. Bro, I'm 52 now. It's a different deal. All I'm interested in is someone who's healthy, who would make me intellect for me to be able to relate with, and so on. I mentioned that to say that we change in so many ways. We don't stop changing until we die. If you find someone you can assist, I don't want to use the word help. Stanley dislikes it. He feels that it's too, someone you can assist just by saying a kind word to, giving the opportunity to connect with someone, reference, and all of that. Find the time to do it. If you can spare the time, it's not a demand. Our lives are made based on how much we touch the lives of others. Thank you.
Thank you for sure. So we do need to do, and we do need, Coach mentioned collaboration earlier. Collaborative capital is what he kept talking about, right? We can assist someone, we support people. Let's support each other. Let's not be the ones who, when we see someone else rising, we run the other way. If anything, we'll hail stones at them and abuse them. Coach, please give us your last message for the day, my friend.
Well, a lot of knowledge on the table. Excited to be here. Thank you, Mr. Olu, Alovine, Mr. Anthony, Cyrus, Mr. Calm, and I think Tobiloba has dropped, and Festus. Thank you so much. And great Annie, you're always a genius. Thank you for the great work you're doing. I can see what you're doing for a generation, and I wish I had a lot of pound sterling in the several thousands or millions to give you, because you're really trying to work Africans together. Joining in absentia too, thank you. And everyone on the call, I'm totally excited for what we are doing. I just want to make a few comments. There are a lot of talents on the ground. Africa is not lacking in talent and creativity and greatness. It is the organized, just like raw materials, the organized systems that we need, the organized processing factories and opportunities for people to capitalize properly. Like I said, a lot of young Africans are calling capital when what we need is competence. And there are collaborative competencies, like when it's just you alone with your idea, then you don't need an accountant. But once your money gets to a certain level where you have 2 or 3 accounts and the numbers are bigger than you, if 20,000 naira disappears, you probably don't know. You are introduced to another problem or disadvantage based on your success. And then you have to get an accountant who may be a thief or he may be a good one. Another problem. And then you solve that problem and then you need to hire someone in HR because your staff are not getting plenty because you're successful. What's my bigger point? We shouldn't run away from problems and we will need each other. There's no problem you're trying to solve, like Cyrus said, that somebody hasn't solved. And the earlier you start the journey, the better. This is the age of AI, where there's a lot of opportunity online everywhere. Pass your accounting books into AI and it will balance it for you. Pass your accounting books into AI today, it's going to balance it for you. So we are at that point as a country, as a nation, as a continent, where there's a lot we can do. There is huge capacity, and we can't continue blaming government or anyone. My admonition is let's do it. And I thank you everyone, and it's been a wonderful meeting.
Thank you so much, Coach. Cyrus, have you got a last word for us today? I don't know if Cyrus is still there. On to here on mute. Look, my friends, look, I will thank you. So I can't thank you enough.
Cyrus fell asleep. That's what happened.
He might. I don't blame him. He said 3 hours in. Goodness me. Mike says LinkedIn is dying a slow death. I don't. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Right. So maybe it is. I could say I don't think it is. I could argue maybe why you might think that way, Mike. Look, but here's the thing. I think we I guess back to my point earlier, which is we need to be honest with ourselves, right? If you see a problem, fix it. That's part of what someone called toxic positivity. I said, it's not toxic positivity. It's just being honest with ourselves, right? If you think LinkedIn is dying, you better go and create another solution. Find another solution. Find another platform. Find a plan B to carry on influencing people the way we do. Don't just sit there and then wait for LinkedIn to die and then go, oh, I knew it was going to die. We must find another way to generate money, to build communities, to influence people, to have a voice. There's many other platforms out there, by the way. So let's learn to be the ones that do the right thing, because we know it's the right thing to do. You know, look, I can't thank you all enough for spending, you know, it's 3 hours of your time you're never going to get back. Hopefully you benefited somehow, right? You know, the biggest benefit of these events is making friends. So please do connect, do make friends, do have those conversations. Now, let that be how we do what Coach David is talking about. You know, let's be the people who are proactive in building our networks, in finding opportunities together. You know, I've got a couple of ideas just from our event today, which I'm going to do. So, you know, I will message my friends and let's have a conversation. Let's make it happen, right? You know, but I'll say thank you so much, everyone. Look, if menopause is on your radar, or if you know someone who might benefit from something that you might learn from Lisa's room, then do join us. DM me. Otherwise, I'm gonna probably invite you anyway, depending on where you are in my DM, in my inbox. Look, we're back in 2 weeks' time. I think I'm talking tomorrow about where do we stream to, where we're streaming these events to. You know, if that interests you, I'm sure I'm going to invite you anyway, right? Hopefully you can join us. You know, Mike, I'll show you know your comments as my last. Africa changed me, specifically Uganda. See that's the way, right? Let's carry and be those people, my friends. Let's carry and be those people. Thank you, everyone. Do enjoy your evening. If I don't see you, thank you. So could you join us again in 2 weeks' time? Thank you so much. Take care. Take care, everyone.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com.